Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Irrational Passions official Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast. It's been a while since we've done a big, glowed-up spoiler cast like this, but here we are again. I am your Keyblade Master, Alex O'Neill, joined alongside my three other Keyblade Masters in arms, my Defenders of Light, People of Light. I forget what they called them. Seekers of Light, Vessels of Darkness.
Yeah. 13
I think we're
lights,
more vessels of darkness.
13 darknesses, 7 lights. That's
We
all we need.
For 3 of my 7 lights in my heart, we have Irrational Passions video producer Mike Burgess. Hi, Mike.
I faced my fears, but now I'm facing my sadness because Kingdom Hearts 3 is over.
With his dog and Keyblade in hand, we have Scott White.
Be gone.
It couldn't have gone any better because the dog started barking.
Are we judging Keyblades now?
Yeah,
You like mine?
Out.
you about to whip yours out?
Yeah, I'm gonna whip mine out. Hold on.
We're the 4 lights, right? We have to.
Oh hell no! Wait till you see my Keyblade. I'm definitely not a light.
Walking off to grab his Keyblade, but maybe possibly still on mic, we have Justin Graffius.
Hi. I like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
We're a bunch
Nice.
of fucking idiots.
Jesus Christ.
There is a Keyblade
I kind of like this.
of my video, but it's being covered by garbage bags. Yeah, because I'm a messy boy. We are here. One person could not be here, wanted to be here. Brian Nobishan Jackson. Our hearts go out to him. May his heart be his guiding key on his journey home from work.
On his way.
But he wanted to be here. He loved this game a lot, and if you want to hear him and I talk about just like some raw reactions to Kingdom Hearts 3's ending, mostly we talked about it on episode 410 or 411 of Irrational Passions podcast. I think it's 411. And we had a great conversation. But so he couldn't be here, but I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts because Justin and I, you've talked about it a little bit. Scott, Mike, I talked to you guys very briefly about it yesterday off microphone. But I don't know kind of where you all fall with everything, and I'm very excited to talk about it. First things first. If you've not finished Kingdom Hearts 3, you should probably stop listening.
Yep. You shouldn't watch either, because there will also probably be video footage of a lot of stuff in the game.
Yeah, Mike's
also in the final version of this. So.
In the edit, let's start with like the beginning clips.
Yes, yeah. It's not. It's not gonna just be like, here's the ending.
Fucking
raw,
final secret cutscene.
Well, clearly we can spoil. We can, because since this is a Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast, we can clearly post everything about 2.9, right?
Yeah, we can talk about
2.9, best Kingdom
Hearts 2.9.
Everyone's favorite PS3 part of the game.
It's a very good sight gag.
Yeah. It's so funny.
But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 in its entirety. I'm gonna try and kind of guide us along to talk about some of the more important things, some of the things I want to talk about, and then maybe at the end we can do a little bit of speculation. But for the most part, talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, there will be spoilers. You have been warned. Let's start off with I want to know, after this game ended, how you felt. How do you feel about Kingdom Hearts 3 in the grand scheme of Kingdom Hearts? Were your reactions positive? Were they negative? How did you feel? Scott, I'll start with you, because I feel like you maybe had a little bit more issues with it than at least me personally. How did you feel at the very end of Kingdom Hearts, having finished Kingdom Hearts 3?
I absolutely loved it. I was emotionally wrecked. Like, hardcore wrecked. Like, I was blown away. Like, I had such a good time with it. Like, the ending was so good. So good.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the ending.
That beach party at the end, like, just...
yeah.
Oh.
It hits you with the hard hits and the soft hits, like, very quickly back to back to back. But, like, I'll say, like, for something that had kind of, like, a dramatic final note, kind of like a very melancholy or bittersweet kind of final shot, obviously a sword disappearing. We don't have to bounce around it here. I felt really satisfied at the end of it, which is that's a hard line to walk. Mike, how did you feel finishing Kingdom Hearts 3, having been on this journey for years? How did you feel walking out of the ending?
Yeah, I very similar thoughts. I love this game a lot. There's definitely it's that thing of I can sit here and look at minor things and be like, well, I wish it was a bummer this wasn't here or this, or like it's all ultimately like whatever, just because like what's actually here was just incredible. Like all the payoffs that are there, all the like just playing, like even like all the minor stuff that like shows that like it's a modern Kingdom Hearts game, like was just incredible to see. And like I was so happy to see it. Just like I still get like impressed when it just goes from a cutscene and then it just swerves and then you're like immediately in control. Like that still gets me every time. And it's just
a thing that works in other video games and it works in Kingdom Hearts as well.
Like, yes, and that's like the thing of just it's been a somewhat regular thing in other video games, but now to finally have a fucking Kingdom Hearts game on a modern console that can do all the mostly modern video games ass stuff, like it was just awesome to finally kind of see that. And yeah, and just of course, you know, we'll get deeper into the story as we'll go, but like there's a lot of really good moments. Like I'm most impressed by how they actually made Sora a good character and not just kind of like sort of like, I don't want to use the term Mary Sue, but like kind of just like that, like he was kind of just like not like a non-character in some ways. And like, and I feel like this time he like had like a depth to him, and like he questioned things, he questioned himself, and he questioned the things around him, and it's like a much more interesting like Sora in this game than there's ever been before, and I was impressed by that like a lot.
That's another standout for me too, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
That's definitely like Sora elevated to like probably one of, if not my favorite video game protagonists in this game.
Yeah, he definitely rised up a lot in my like in terms of just like memorable and like iconic game characters. He like rose to a rank that I feel like he now like actually justifies. But where before I was kind of like I was just, like, as much as I love this franchise, I was like, he's always kind of
friendship and love will prevail.
Yeah, and he's always been very one note and very simple, and yeah,
there's much more complexity.
Yeah, there's nuance to that character, and there's also like understanding that the opposing side isn't all bad, right? Like there's like this kind of acceptance that being driven can sometimes lead you down the wrong path. It's a very there's a lot of really, really good Sora moments,
and I would say like along with Sora, like just like the whole vibe of the game in general, like felt like it was way more self-aware of just it being Kingdom Hearts, and like obviously like we're fans of this franchise, but there's a lot of people who just kind of see it as this kind of weird, crazy, ridiculous, kind of convoluted thing, and like they kind of play into that a little bit in this that I like liked a lot of. Like they kind of were like, we are aware of like what fans like about this, and like maybe like the misconceptions, and they just kind of like roll with it and like kind of accept what it is. And like there's a lot of moments in the game, like you said, like the Kingdom Hearts 2.9 just like title screen just popping on the screen. Like as soon as you see that, they're like, they know what they actually do know what they're like doing when they make all this ridiculous stuff happen all the time. And like it made the game feel a lot more like self-aware and just like it knows what it is and its identity, and that was awesome to see too.
Justin, you and I have been talking about this game some way or another for our entire friendship. Like there is
pretty much.
I'm pretty sure to some extent Kingdom Hearts was partly the thing that brought us together.
Most likely.
There's a picture of from Extra Life, I believe 2014 or 2013, of you and Nabashin and I in my first apartment in the kitchen after having made sea salt ice cream during Extra Life, holding the Terra Aqua Van Wayfinders together. So like this game had a lot to live up to. I feel like the three of us especially have been like in it to win it together for a while. Justin, how did you feel at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3?
don't want to sound like a broken record or anything, but yeah, no, this is exactly, I think, what most Kingdom Hearts fans wanted. Yes, it sucks that Final Fantasy characters aren't in there. It sucks with some other minor things, but we got literally all the Kingdom Hearts characters, getting them fleshed out and getting more of their story and finishing all those stories that I wanted finished. Every time we got some new characters and all those new games, I wanted to see that story and really with how the secret movie is, the ongoing stuff in a certain game that we got teased here and there, even in this game. That's going to be the new story. That's going to go forth from here. We might see the characters now, but yeah, we got the story completed finally after all these games. We got to see everybody end up where they did. To me, crying a lot in a lot of those scenes.
Yeah.
My emotions were all over the board.
I was gonna ask that question of when was the first moment you remember that teared up for like all of us here? We're like, what was that first?
Orchestral intro.
Yeah,
Yep,
the opening.
same.
Yeah, that took me back. That wasn't the first moment I teared up. But that was definitely a moment of like I need to stop here because I was not prepared for that. Because it starts and you're just kind of like, okay, it's not Dearly Beloved necessarily, but it's a very, very beautiful song. And then all of a sudden and then it actually kicks into Dearly Beloved, and I'm just like, oh fuck, and I just had to I took a second. Yeah, that was really good.
As soon as that orchestral section happened, yeah, that word.
Wrong emphasis on the right syllable.
Yeah, it starts up before you even hit anything. Like you hit the start the disc and it just starts there. It doesn't even go to the menu to wait. Like as soon as that started happening, I almost started crying as it started showing everything from the old game, like every other game. Because then I knew, I'm like, this is for us. The people that have been playing everything. And then that's when I just started breaking down, crying for the first time.
Man, there was a lot for it was the pre-title screen opening video where it's opens with the shot of the opening cut, the cinematic that we were going to see in a moment of Ericus and Xehanort playing chess, but then it goes through the collage of the montage of all the other games from 1 to Birthday Sleep.
The build up to for everything.
Yeah, and it's just playing the theme. I just got choked up there just because there were a lot of moments in the very early parts of this game, like when you were in the Station of Departure again, which I was very excited to have back.
Yes, yeah.
You fight the Nightmare, or Dark Shadow, whatever, Dark Side, and it's just you're playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I out loud said, I can't believe I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, you're just like this. Here it is. Yeah, just seeing Sora drop down. Yeah, like you said, on the land of or the world of departure, and just seeing him in his original Kingdom Hearts 1 clothing, and then just falling down to that plate, and I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah,
this is it.
That's part of what wrecked me about the intro orchestral thing, because I was just sitting there, and it's like all this time, it's finally happened. And having worked on and put together that reflected memories, it's hearing everybody's memories of playing the games and where we were in life and how everything's changed, and to be finally sitting there with it in front of me, listening to this track and seeing the homages and the clips from the old games and mixed with the new stuff is just what a ride this has been.
Yeah, there is. I don't know if I've ever had the feeling with a game of genuine disbelief that I have it in my hands. But we've had 7 years since the last major Kingdom Hearts release to kind of create this mysticism behind the idea
Mm-hmm.
of Kingdom Hearts 3. Like this,
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 for so long was a concept. It was just
Yeah.
like an idea.
I don't know. I would say
we
for
had-
some, it's like been even longer than that.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, if you've been
Pretty
like,
much do.
Yeah.
yeah, like since 2005, obviously, but like we've had a kind of idea of like what the front to back story of that game would be after Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
But like
Yep.
imagining it and trying to fit all those pieces together and trying to make it make sense. Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
when you start that game and it's like, this is Kingdom Hearts. We're in the station of departure. You are going through these
Mhm.
giant stained glass windows, and
Yeah.
it is exactly what you want it to be. It's just like a surreal feeling. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I've
Absolutely.
ever had that feeling with a game before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my feelings after I finished it, there was a little bit of disbelief, right? Like that whole last scene is just such a trip. And I was like
Boy, yeah.
wide mouth, like tears
Mhm.
rolling down my face, like very much like
Same.
along for the ride. And then obviously that last shot happens and the credits just start rolling. And it's like, boy, I have no idea how to imagine getting hit by a train that's just 12 emotions at once.
Yeah. No kidding.
And it's a lot, and it was nice to like have the time to take and process that information, because like
Mhm.
I played this game in such like a blurry haze of like waking up, turning on Kingdom Hearts and playing until I
Yeah,
can't
Yeah.
feel anymore.
Yeah. Let me
Mhm.
let me just call you two out right here. Scott and Alex, I'm pretty sure you both beat this game within like the 48 hours of it releasing.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
like that's insane.
34
I know like
hours.
obviously we're fans, but like still, man, that's fucking wild.
I mean,
I
to be
wish I
fair,
had the
you-
days off.
You platinum
that.
Spider-Man in the weekend that it came out.
Yeah.
But that's like that's like a
That's
like
an open world game too.
but like also you can beat Spider-Man in like 12 hours. This is
Yeah.
like a full 30-hour game. Like I platinum that game and like played it like that was like 15 hours over like a Thursday night to like a Sunday night because I picked
Yeah.
it up 9. So like still that's
I took time off
Yeah.
work for this. I was
yeah,
ready.
like I know you did, but
I-
still
I don't
I'm calling
work.
out. But
Yeah.
that was,
So,
just,
but
that
I
was wild.
started I picked up my copy at 9 on Monday night, and I played until about 1, and then I finished, I want to say, Thursday morning at 1 a.m. Like 1:30 a.m. Somewhere.
Yeah, I think I finished it Thursday at like 5 a.m. So I was a little bit after you,
Mm.
5 or 7 a.m. But yeah, I mean, the feeling after it was like satisfaction. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if I've ever
For sure.
been as satisfied by a conclusion to a story outside of this. Like I know, like it's funny. A lot of folks have brought it up, and it's a good point of like there are a lot of big stories ending this year specifically. Kingdom
Mhm.
Hearts being kind of like the first of them to happen. And I'm curious to see now that like we have this benchmark of like how is Avengers Endgame gonna feel? Like how is Star Wars Episode 9 gonna feel? How are these big conclusions going to feel? And I think it's just my whole thought process with this game is it was so easy to mess up. And
Mhm.
Totally.
Yep.
there were a lot of like things that could have been way bigger missteps, and you
Yeah.
can tell by the things that they didn't have in this game. Like they knew they had to cut things. Like they knew they couldn't pay off absolutely everything. So instead, they created a much more focused kind of final act here that I think worked
Yeah.
in its favor.
Yep.
And I was really happy with it. Before we kind of get into like the big beats and whatnot, I want to
Mhm.
know some favorites, some good vibes, some good feelings. What was everybody's
Absolutely.
favorite world? We can start with you, Scott.
Mm.
All of them.
I really liked Toy Story and Monsters Inc. Between those two,
I feel like you gotta say Toy Story. Walk around Andy's room.
yeah, I thought that was cool, but fucking Sully owning Vanitas, highlight of the game. One of the highlights of
Which
the game.
isn't
It's
even
incredible.
like the best it is. It's like that's like barely a top 5 most hype moment. Like that's how many hype moments there are in this
Oh, yeah.
game.
But it was so
There's
badass.
still a raw
just Sully
reaction to
just
that.
wrecking Vanitas.
Oh, it's incredible.
Oh,
God, just like this.
yeah.
Two arms grab, throw him in the door, throw the door, throw the door, throw the door, throw the door,
Yeah.
throw the door.
Shred it.
I'm
And it
so
was like-
proud of my Vanitas boy for being
Oh,
taken out
boy.
like that. Not
Yeah,
gonna
dude.
lie.
Go out like a
Man.
king.
And it's what I thought was funny was that was right after like one of the first like big story elements I felt that we got in a world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like fucking Sully's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, just throws him
Just
through a
wrecks him and
door.
then throws him out. It's,
Yep. I think
That's a
I think
good
I had a
point.
raw reaction to that when in our we have a Slack
Yeah, you did,
IP
yeah.
Slack. Like I had a few raw reactions this game, and that was one of them. And I was like,
Mhm.
did Sully just fucking hurl Vanitas through a door or something? I just typed something like that just because like I lost it at that moment too, just because how ridiculous it was. And I think that's like another thing of like what I said earlier of just like this like them beat their this game is like probably the most self-aware they've been of like just how ridiculous this crossover and this is, and like they really embraced it with like they had like a lot more characters like
Mhm.
Disney characters and like in the world and like actual Kingdom Hearts characters like interacting with each other and like like trading lines and like making fun of each other or like throwing like quips and comments at each other. Like it was really good.
Yeah,
And
like,
they worked with that with all the worlds with the characters.
Yes,
Like they
yeah,
all
and it
kind
all-
of
and it all
matched
and it-
exactly.
Yeah, and like yeah, a lot of it landed pretty good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like in the Toy Story world, there's a point where Woody's like, I don't know what any of this means,
Yeah.
but you seem like a bad guy.
You seem like
Yeah.
a bad guy.
It's like, all right, yeah, you pretty much
Yep.
summed it up.
I thought this big fat guy, he was a chicken. Yeah, I
Mhm.
took him down.
Yeah.
You're-
Buzz seemed like a little bit too much of a hard ass.
Yeah,
I
especially
remember him being in the movie.
That,
No,
that
he
lines up
was.
with
He
what
was
I
like,
remember
like in
mostly.
the original movie, which I think this was mostly kind of
No.
like closer to.
this took place after 2.
Oh, was it after 2?
I-
Okay.
It can't be after
Yes.
2 though, because they never mentioned Jesse.
Yeah, they
That's
never
what I
showed
thought too, but it's supposed to take place after 2 because the house that they're in is the one that they moved to.
Oh
it. Mm,
man, I don't know. I envisioned this more so like as after 1.
yeah, that's kind of
and,
what I
like,
get the vibe of
I
too.
feel like that's where the characters land. I guess like they don't necessarily change that much between 1 and 2. I would say they just kind of that cast grows.
Yeah, they just kind of become
Mhm.
more friends.
But yeah, that was kind of in line with how I felt Buzz was.
Yeah, like he's always seemed apprehensive towards like outsiders or I guess
Yeah, because that
Or just
role
general.
shifts in Toy Story 1 when Woody's like, I don't know how I feel about Buzz, but then
Yeah.
they become really good friends. And Woody kind of
Mhm.
opens up, and Buzz becomes kind of the hard ass.
yeah.
But Mike, what was your favorite world? of them?
I mean, mine is also probably, or Sky's probably Toy Story, just because like I think it was also because it was like kind of the first world you go to. Well, actually, I went to the Tangled World first, but when I went to Toy Story right after, obviously, and then it was just like they just nailed an aesthetic, obviously, because they've always kind of nailed those Disney aesthetics. But I feel like Toy Story was like really that one of just like wow, of like this is like they nailed this just like even like the small space of walking around Andy's room just like felt right. And then of course the You Got a Friend in Me version of the song starts playing, and you're just like it's just
really
like
good.
and you're just like yeah, this is everything. This is perfect.
Yeah.
And then
Can I just say how like messed up I was, like how confused I was with the Verum Rex intro?
oh yes,
I was
I
like,
was the same.
that
oh my
was
God, Did I
incredible.
just unlock something by mistake? What is
Yeah,
going
that was
on?
that was also incredible.
That was-
the
Oh
Vera
my
Rex.
God.
And just
I loved it so much.
Yeah,
It was,
and
it
I
was
was great.
fantastic, and it's like it goes back to that kind of self-aware thing that Nomura has added to this game. Like it was so Final Fantasy 15-ish,
Yeah.
or like versus
Yeah.
13-esque.
that's
That's the
And then it's just
rumor
like a
too.
yeah. There's a lot of
game,
speculation about that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe him
people are saying that
him taking a
that
jab
was his actual like idea for versus 13 and 15,
Mm-hmm.
and Square scrapped it, and now he's like, well, I'm gonna put it in here. Screw you guys.
yeah, I'm gonna use it somewhere. Dang it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Which I love.
yeah, I love that
Mhm.
too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just like being in Andy's room and then like running out and then that thing like getting into your first fight, and then that battle music starts playing. That Toy Story battle music, like, I don't know if it might be a hot take, but I think that's like the best new battle theme in that game. Like, I love that theme, and it's just like I just love the battle theme. And, like, I don't know what it is about it, but I think it's just like even if it wasn't in Toy Story, I would just like it. Period. Like, it's just like so fanfare-y, and like it feels like so Kingdom Hearts in a cool way of like it's just like I just like it. Like, it's probably one of the songs that's been stuck in my head the most, and I really like that battle theme. And then
music.
Exactly. Shout out to the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack
Holy
period
crap.
is incredible.
Unbelievable. Like,
Yes.
the way that they bring back themes from 2 in particular
Yeah.
is
Yes.
phenomenal.
Yeah, they do some really good remix. Like, there's another remix later and when you go into the VRM Rex like fight in there, and I love that. Like, sort of like weird, kind of like techno-y version of that battle theme is like so good.
That first time, I'm sure Justin, you remember that first time you hear the Vanitas music is like,
Oh my god.
shield
That
from
made me,
that spot.
well, that made me happy because I missed him so much. And hearing like updated of those songs and all that, yeah,
Yeah, it's very good.
he's fantastic.
But yeah, I like Toy Story a lot. This might be probably my other favorite one. I don't know how divisive this is, but I actually really like the Pirates of the Caribbean world.
I love the Pirates World.
Yeah, the Pirates world is
It's
like,
amazing.
it's just
Wasn't
like
a huge
cool.
fan of the collecting white crabs portion, but everything else I was very.
Yeah, I didn't really mind it just because it was like like it just kind of came naturally because you're like exploring all these islands where it's just like they basically just made a Wind Waker game in Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, as soon as I realized what it kind of was, I was just like, man, this is incredible.
And Port Royal is so huge.
Yes.
Like, that's where you have to find
It's a
the
great world.
amount.
It's so
It
cool.
looks
It's
so
just like
beautiful. I got lost in it.
Yeah.
such
looking
a
for
loving
those
homage
crabs.
to the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie too. Like,
Mhm.
about how like they recreated some of the areas from that movie in that part of the game. It's
Yeah.
great. Justin, what was your favorite world?
Oh, jeez. The problem is, like, it's like it technically is a tie between 3, mostly because of different things.
Killing me, Justin.
Hey, Monstropolis is great because I like the doors and, of course, the Unversed. Again, bias
Versus cool to
there.
have it back, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean because the ship sailing, like swimming, is perfect. It feels so good.
It's
They
like
did nail the swimming controls.
It's weird. Like, it feels like an homage to like the Atlantica worlds in the past too. Like they kind of melded them into one.
Yeah, because I think that's where you even get Ariel, right?
Yeah, you get the water summon there.
Yeah. And I'm definitely probably alone with this one, but probably Arendelle because
You're
of
not.
the frickin' prison.
Hush your mouth.
Okay.
You and I have very different reasons, but
But again, I also love that movie. My biggest problem with that world is it's called Arendelle,
yeah.
but we never go to Arendelle.
Yeah, you never see that tab.
It's very disappointing in that
Sequel
aspect.
potential, baby.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back. Were those your 3 or was that just 2?
Yeah, no, those were my 3.
Okay.
Caribbean, Monstropolis, and Arendelle.
A thing about Monstropolis, and I'm curious if any of you got this vibe. Anyone else get like Batman Arkham vibes from Randall talking to you over the loudspeaker while you're going through like these factory hallways?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see it,
Yes,
but
I
it
got
might have
this
been
vibe.
because you were playing that game recently.
Maybe, but I was like into it. Like Arkham City vibes in particular.
Mm-hmm.
It did have that dark feel to it, like
Yeah.
not because of just the Unversed, but like going
Especially
through
when
the
it
whole.
got all on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like had this dark vibe to it. It was really cool.
My favorite world was the Frozen world, probably. Mostly because they were just like, let's just do it, man. Let's just go nuts.
Hey
And
guys, let me tell you about this movie called Frozen. It's very popular with the kids. They love Let It Go. Let's just do that.
There's just like an audacity with the Frozen world that I fucking love. Like, somebody was like, fuck it, man. We're just going to put all Let It Go in this game. And I was like, all right. When it started, I'm like, they're not going to do the whole thing. They did the entire thing. And
Not
I
gonna
was,
lie, It was my first time ever hearing the entirety of Let It Go.
I was
Wow.
weeping.
I started crying a little bit.
I was not. There was no starting or ending. It was an open. Spritzer.
It is, yeah, like it is like that is like definitely like also like the Kingdom Hearts in a nutshell moment too, of just like you see
Exactly.
like the like shot for shot like recreation of this iconic Disney scene, and then just like Sora and them just walking on screen like and Goofy
What's
just
going on?
gosh, and they just kind of like run off somewhere.
Is that Elsa singing?
It was
Yeah,
like just the
it's
right
like-
level of silly for me.
Yeah.
And I was way into it. Yeah, I really like Arendelle, and my other favorite would probably be Corona. Like Tangled and Frozen are two of my favorite Disney movies.
Mhm.
Period. Frozen probably being number 1 or number 2, depending if you ask me. And I know there are a lot of people that are crazy about Frozen. I'm sorry that I'm one of them. But the Tangled world was just, it was so fun to explore.
Yeah.
It
Especially with
so
Yeah.
good.
It looks
Yeah.
incredible. Like Frozen and Tangled, like Disney's current kind of visual style, like played so perfectly into Kingdom
Mhm.
Hearts, and that's why I think those two like really stuck out to me. But yeah, like the way that they did the story in Tangled, like you got like the moments between Max and Flynn that were like really great.
Mhm.
They brought the kind of heart of that movie out in that world really well.
Yeah.
especially with Sora and Rapunzel, like all those little scenes that you get to do, like
Yeah.
splashing or get the birds to her so she can see the birds. Like just
Yeah.
all those little things was like, this is a nice start to my journey, I'll say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of little stuff in this game that there's a lot of attention to detail. Kind of like the Port Royale, like it totally, really there's not much that you can get there that you wouldn't, like that you need, but like just like the faithful recreation of this location in this game is so
Yeah.
well done.
Mhm.
There's a lot of that in this game.
I think the crazy thing with the Kingdom of Corona, like I didn't think they were actually gonna do it, but spoilers for the movie, Rapunzel cuts her hair off. So when you go back to Kingdom Corona, she's not in your party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why? Because she doesn't have her hair. She can't
She can't fight
Mhm.
anymore. yeah.
fight anymore.
And when you
Makes
talk to her,
sense.
she's like, I can't go swinging around with you anymore, Sora. And it's like really funny.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of great like post-game dialogue
Yeah.
in each world too.
hmm
Hearing
It's a benefit of like this game being fully voice acted now,
Yeah.
whereas like the other ones weren't.
I love hearing every time now when I go to the Keyblade graveyard, just Donald Duck horribly saying the Keyblade graveyard, and he's just like in Donald Duck voice. I'm just like every time I'm just like, yep, but yes, it is Donald Duck, and it's ridiculous. But
there's a tweet that came out like right around when this game came out from Aaron Hansen at Ego Raptor. Maybe my favorite like just single thought on Kingdom Hearts was nothing brings me greater joy than hearing Donald Duck carefully navigate the sentence. I think this might be a good spot to find some ingredients. And that is 100%.
Yep.
Did you guys like the cookie minigame? Did you like Little Chef's integration?
I thought it was fine. Like it's like I said, it's in line with the rest of the game where it's like really silly, where it's like here's this like 5-star restaurant meal, and it cuts to Sora slowly cracking a single egg open, and then it's like here's this 5-star dessert made from that, and you're just like, and it's like yep, okay, sure, whatever.
I thought it was a really cool way to integrate. One, it's a cookie minigame, which is kind of like a staple of JRPGs, and it's cool to bring that in. But it was also a really great way to integrate like Ratatouille, like this kind of underappreciated Disney movie. Not that I've seen
Especially
it.
for Pixar.
So good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like a clever. It is like a great, very subtle Kingdom Hearts moment of like they brought these two JRPGs and Disney together in this really cool way that like doesn't really make a huge difference throughout that game. Like I don't think I ever ate like a full meal and like needed it.
Yeah.
They're buffs like if you need them. But it was, I thought it was like really well implemented. There's a little story there too of like getting the restaurant to a 5-star restaurant. Yeah, everybody's happy at the end. So
You know, I'm kind of disappointed in all of you. Nobody said your favorite world was 100 Acre.
Actually, I was gonna bring up 100 Acre Woods too because I liked 100 Acre Woods. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
God
glad
damn.
that this is like a very consumable, like 30-minute thing.
Yeah,
instead of, like,
you're in and out.
Oh.
You can be in and out in that world. And I was totally okay with that.
I was
Also,
like,
I really like the Keyblade from that world. The honeypots.
Yes.
Very
That
good
is
I
the
Keyblade.
wish
best
the
part to
mini
come out of it.
games were different and it
Yeah.
wasn't just the same
That
mini
was my
games.
Sure.
problem. I was
Yeah.
hoping at least for variety of minigames because I'm actually one of the people that didn't mind the Winnie the Pooh levels in 1 and 2 because the minigames
Mhm.
were somewhat fun.
yeah, I
And
like
then there's this one where it's, okay, can we
Do the
get this
same
over
thing
with
3
already?
times.
Yeah.
I liked the mini game, so I appreciated how like it progressively got a little bit harder each time.
Sure. Yeah.
Although the
Yeah.
third one where you have to get the honey pots, fuck that mini game. Just because I had to like grind on it for like 2 hours to get enough honey for all the recipes, and all the crafting and everything that you would need.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's like the
But-
one thing that's
Mhm.
it's the one reason I've not platinumed Kingdom Hearts 3. Also, I just a lot of been busy, but
Yeah,
I'm just
we-
like looking at some of those things. I'm just like, I'll leave this for
Mhm.
later. Like I'll savor
I-
this game. So
Yeah, I loved doing all of it, which I think just speaks to like a thing that is just the most telling thing about me is when you get to the first shop that lets you do synthesis and you go down to like the checklist and it's like get 25, 30, and 20 of each material. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I like love doing that checklist in Kingdom Hearts 2 every single time I play that game because I'm a
Mhm.
fucking crazy person.
Mm,
And doing it again in this was like great, and it was a lot
Mhm.
easier in this anyway. So, let's talk about the story, kind of overall, because I know, Scott, you said that you felt yesterday. You told us this that you felt all of the Disney worlds could be cut out. I personally disagree. I think like obviously, there's plenty to say about the final act, and we can kind of transition into
Yeah.
that in a little bit. But just from my perspective, like I really like what you were saying in this game, Mike, of how Sora is kind of built up in this game. I like
mhm.
the prodding that is done to him throughout the game by the
Mhm.
organization members. I think like there are a lot of very specific things that get picked at in
Yeah.
regards to him. And I think the things that he learns from all these other characters, and like going back to Winnie the Pooh and hearing that like Winnie the Pooh forgot him and the bond between them was weak, or it grew
Mhm.
weak, and he had to kind of rebuild that. And like those little things I really liked. I liked how Sora grew throughout that game, leading to the end moment where he's been kind of like picked apart in a way that he didn't really know, so that when he gets to that the kind of first iteration of that final battle, he like gives up
Mhm.
and falls apart. And
Yeah.
it's like it's a really great arc to have him fall apart and literally pick the pieces back up together.
Mhm.
I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of that. Scott, what in particular didn't work for you in this regard?
Like, it's not that I want the worlds removed. My biggest thing was, like, Mickey and Riku were out trying to find Aqua and do all of that. And Sora was supposed to try and find Ven or, like, do something. It just felt like he was always doing side stuff and not necessarily helping towards the main goal. I feel like so much of the plot and the discovering of the other lights and things like that is crammed into the last like 3 hours that I wish some of it had been spread out, or they incorporated some of those elements into the earlier worlds.
Mm-hmm.
That was my main issue. It's like, yeah, okay, this is fun. I love going to Toy Store. I love doing all this. I love going to Arendelle. I love going to Tangled World, stuff like that. But it didn't feel. I just always felt it was like, I feel like there's something more that Sora could be doing, or something like there's more important things that he should be focusing on. And I know it's like, oh, he's trying to get stronger, but just incorporate some of the things into it.
Yeah.
Narratively speaking, that was my main. I thought like all the big important stuff, because going into it, I was expecting, okay, for like the first quarter, we'll go and we'll find Aqua, and then it'll be the next few worlds. The main focus will be, okay, now that we have Aqua, let's do Ven. Then like the last few worlds before the climactic battle, you find Terra, and then once everyone's there, you go and take on the Keyblade Graveyard. That's like kind of how I mentally thought it was going to go, where it was pretty much all the last 3 hours. It's like, okay, we quickly right at the end. Okay, we got Aqua. Awesome, cool fight scene, and then cut scene. Okay, we have Ven. It's like, okay, then another cutscene. Okay, we're at the Keyblade Graveyard, and then all shit breaks loose. I wish they had paced that out better.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because like I really like the pacing of this game. I guess my expectation was that everything would all those moments would kind of happen in the final act, especially like when you go into it, and it's like I feel like once you get into Mount Olympus, I got the vibe very quickly, like settle in. Like,
oh yeah,
it's gonna be a long ride, which I don't know, I liked. Like I think a big thing is Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep, even 358 to some extent. Like they've really muddied the quote unquote Kingdom Hearts format of like go Disney World, play story, the end. Go Disney World, play story, the end. Like that lost so much momentum for me. So like going into this, I was really worried that just playing through those Disney Worlds was going to be a huge bummer, especially if we had to do them twice, which I didn't know whether or not we would. So when you go through them and like they're kind of fleshed out, they feel a little bit more involved. Like I feel like there's like way more quips and way more dialogue between the characters. I was like way more along for the ride. I was like, oh yeah, like the numbered Kingdom Hearts games, I think give a little bit more reverence to those worlds. So I was kind of in it, and the trickle of story is very similar to how they did it in 2 in particular. So I think that everything just kind of clicked and worked for me. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just jump into that Aqua moment, because obviously like we get kind of like the Kingdom Hearts moment of the game. We get some great interstitial scenes, like when Riku loses his keyboard.
He loses his keyboard. How's he gonna text? How's he gonna text us?
His great skateboard. And Mickey like hurts his keyblade, I guess. Like, and they have to go get new keyblades. They come back. They're here to save Aqua, and in the meanwhiles, Sora has let his heart be his guiding key, and it's led him to Destiny Islands, and we get that incredible scene.
Yeah,
the payoff
so
scene.
And like I feel like
best reaction command, triangle to Sora.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great moment that is. But like when we get that scene, like where Sora's on Destiny Island, like that was like really special for me. Cause,
oh yeah.
Like we were all there when they announced Kingdom Hearts 3. Like there's a reaction of it. Like I legitimately cried a little when they like just announced this game, just because I'm a big sap. But like seeing him pick up Ericus's Keyblade and be like, how did this get here? Like, and having that question and then opening the door to darkness, like legit. It was a very cool moment.
Some would say you were, when that scene happened in Kingdom Hearts 3, you were lining the pieces up. Yours and mine. Under one sky, one destiny, which we will get to, mind you. But yeah, I love that moment. I love that Sora is the one that saves Aqua. Like I feel like they built that up really well. Like Riku goes in and he's like apologizes, like I'm sorry. It's a great. It's everything like about the whole Aqua scene is great. And I love how they teased it in the trailers and how different it felt when you got to it.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't feel ruined.
Yeah, like they built the moment. I think like that was another thing with like them kind of leaving it later on. I think they did a good job of like showing, since they showed that in a trailer, and then every time you'll see that scene, you're like, oh, is it gonna happen here? And then it doesn't happen, and you're just like, oh, they're building something. They're building up to something, and then then you finally get that later scene of Aqua. I think this might have been a little bit before that, but when Aqua and Ansem as a organization member were talking on the beach was also a very good scene. I thought.
Yeah.
And like the redemption. I mean, we'll get into like the kind of last act redemptions that happen, but like there's a lot of redeeming characters or characters seeking to be better and do better. Like Ienzo in particular, like trying to like help Sora throughout all of this. And like, there's a great
following Ansem Noah's footsteps.
He gives us all the power to take selfies.
Yeah, dude, which is
We
honestly
did
the
it.
most important power.
Gummy phone.
But
Being
like,
able to produce them at a faster rate than Apple is very impressive.
yeah, dude, Gummy Phone 2.0 coming out this fall.
Could be
I'm excited.
real.
It's gonna be real. But like the scene where he sees like Ansem the Wise again, he's like, I was just a kid when this happened. I didn't know what was happening. He's,
Yeah.
like, crying.
Mhm.
Like, this is like a really poignant
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
for like
This
a
is
character that I didn't necessarily care that much
Mhm.
about.
Yeah, it
Nope.
just got real for
Yeah,
this
'cause
character that was like in a GPA game for a little while.
Yeah,
Then we
right?
saw that one time in the GPA game, and then not really much ever
Doing
again.
background shit, and that's all we get
Yeah,
of
he
him.
gets
Yeah.
birthed by Riku like very quickly, all
Yeah.
things considered.
You
Yeah,
know,
But like they made him matter in this, and like they made
Mhm.
everybody matter. Like they made Data Sora matter
yeah,
to some extent. Of like, you remind me of Data Sora. Like there's payoffs on coded in this game that you wouldn't expect. But yeah, I'll say like this, Scott. In your defense, like I was definitely expecting there to be a Castle Oblivion world in this game.
Mhm.
The way that
Yep.
everything shaked out made a lot more sense. Of like, oh yeah, I'm Aqua. I'm here now. I'm just gonna fix this
Yeah.
place. Before
Oh
we
my
even go
God.
inside.
that was.
It was
So-
really cool
was
to
cool.
walk around there. I would have loved to spend more time in
The Land of Departure.
Land of Departure
Yeah,
or Castle
same.
Oblivion or something. Same with Radiant Garden. I'm kind of
Yeah,
bummed we
I
didn't
was
go
gonna say
to
that.
Radiant
Yeah.
Garden.
That was
Radiant
like
Garden, I think, is the
that was-
biggest disappointment.
that was a big bummer. Like
Yeah.
seeing it in a cut, you see it in cutscenes. You see
Mhm.
Yeah.
Riku and
Can-
Mickey like standing in the courtyard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
where
there's
the-
stuff
the-
that we only ever
and
saw
you're
in
just
Birth
like,
by Sleep too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can
It
you
would've been-
imagine all the people that played 2, that like end time when, oh, we all remember it's called Radiant Gardens, and then all you get to see is in 3 just cutscenes of it. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I can't
rough.
imagine.
It makes sense, like to the extent of like, okay, like they really did kind of explore as much as they could in Birth by Sleep as to what that world would look like. But it would have been nice to revisit. My speculation still, like, I still feel like there's going to be a final mix version of this game. I know.
Oh, I think I think the secret ending, and we'll get to that. The secret video is a tease for the final mix version and not the next story.
Okay, because I
Hmm.
I was definitely kind of in the camp that it's like the next story. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
if they do make a final mix version of this, I would totally see them adding one world, Radiant Garden, and like having that have a bunch of
Stuff to do.
extra bosses,
Totally.
extra things, Sephiroth and Cloud back, like all
Mhm.
the Final Fantasy
Yeah,
characters back in the way
absolutely.
that we would want them. So, and I think like there's a way to like kind of insert that where it's like not ruining the story or compromising. anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I have
think
some
that'd be cool.
theories about why it's pointed to that.
Okay. So saving Aqua is kind of the beginning of the final act.
Mhm.
Go
Mhm.
to Castle Oblivion, which is cool to see that kind of creepy path again, and sort
Yeah.
of being like, have I been here before?
Mhm.
And it's really cool to see like the payoffs on the stuff that like you shouldn't know this, right? Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't. I know this as the
Mhm.
player, but you don't know this. So like, you know, Sora not knowing he's got like 4 dudes in him. You know,
Yeah.
like you know, the moment where they're like, "We think you have 3 hearts in you." It's like, what? Like
Yeah.
I know one of
Oh?
them, maybe.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, like coming back around.
Mhm.
But yeah, Aqua being a Keyblade Master badass and putting the Land of Departure back together, going through that opening
The
area,
hallway and
The
everything.
hallway. Yep.
Yeah.
so cool.
Hearing that music again, like as
Mhm.
dumb as it is, like especially because I played all the games before it came out.
Mhm.
Trying to 100% them all, sadly didn't work. But like playing Birth by Sleep, of course you could play it anytime you want. But
Mhm.
hearing that like updated version of Land of Departure, I almost started crying listening to it because it was just so beautiful. Hearing that song again,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
feels like it went away for years, even
it
though.
looks great too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Really cool.
It's all worth it for the moment you go up, you find Ven sleeping on the throne. Vanitas attacks, and you get this great boss fight with Aqua.
Mhm.
Aqua's just like, let me show you what a Keyblade Master can actually do.
Hold my beer, watch this.
Yeah.
Let me kick his
Just
ass,
finally.
please. I'm sick
And,
of
like the moment that Vanitas music starts, like I said,
Mhm.
it kills, man. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that's a great fight. Obviously, Ven coming back is a great moment. All these moments, like from here out, are just are just ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's funny how like you tote the line of being earned and like feeling like too good to be true, and I think Kingdom Hearts 3 just like gracefully walks that line sometimes,
Yeah.
but also just like skips across that line, like arms flailing at other times.
Yeah.
Just having fun with
It
it.
feels like for up to the point where you get, you fight Aqua and you get her back, it feels like you're at a party and you're just like sipping on your drink, you know, having your beer, and it's like, oh, this is great, and then your like longtime best friend comes and it's like, we're gonna beer bong a keg.
I got the keg. Yeah, somebody like breaks through the front door with a keg and is like, it's time to go.
And then
Chug,
it's just
chug,
like
chug.
forcing
Yeah.
everything down your throat as fast as it can, and you're just like trying not to die, and that's what I felt like the last 3.5 hours was.
That's the thing. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel like that the last act went by too quickly. I think it was like at a good metered pace.
Oh, I don't think it went fast. I think they just crammed, like they just shot a lot at you.
It was a lot, but like I appreciate it was a lot. I was like,
Good.
Yeah,
I've been through 10 games for this. You better make it good.
It was it was a lot, but it all felt like earned, and like nothing. I felt like nothing was really just like not shoehorned, I guess isn't the word, but just like over like looked.
Nothing felt cheap.
Yeah, nothing felt like not earned.
Completely agree.
Through that whole, basically like the entirety of the Keyblade graveyard. Basically what we're talking about.
We get that great like the night before the final battle scene with everybody. It's like we got our 7 guardians now. It's time. Like, hey, like
There's a lot of
Jensen's
good
like,
scenes in there.
It's gonna be fucked, y'all.
Yeah.
Axel's like, why does this kid look like fucking Roxas?
And he's just like, who's Roxas? It doesn't Ventus say that. He's like, who's Roxas?
Oh,
There's a lot of really good bits in there.
And Sora's like,
all right,
oh, man.
since we're talking about that, and I know we're going to the final battle, can we just like back up about like 3/4 of the way to the Axel and Kyrie scene where he just slowly starts remembering Shion, and
But you
I'm
can't
just
remember her? You just
yes,
started
I'm
crying?
just starting to cry. Oh my god!
So that was
That was
was
a good one.
not specifically that, but that was the scene for me that I first teared up. Was like as soon as it just like pans into this like all the trees and like the CG scene, and then it just goes into Kyrie just like writing that note, the notes and the words, and just kind of like just like nonchalant, like nonchalantly just having like a normal conversation with Sora in her mind, and then that like amazing version of Dearly Beloved starts playing, and I was just like, holy shit, this is just this is so much, and it's so good.
Yeah. It's great stuff. I like all the interstitial scenes. I appreciated that. Like, there was always one between a world.
I really wanted more Axel or more Lee and Kyrie time.
Yeah.
I think they did those two characters a disservice in this story. I loved all the scenes that they were in, but especially what happens at the end, I feel like they should have done a lot more.
Yeah, there's not a lot of actual
Like,
training that actually happened.
No.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm hoping not tons of people are going into Kingdom Hearts 3 without playing the previous games, but if you're going into Kingdom Hearts 3, like, just to play Kingdom Hearts 3, you won't get any payoff. You won't have any idea why that ending scene with Kyrie matters. Like, what happens to her matters.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you in, like, three things.
Yeah. I think, like, to be fair, like, I think the people coming into this game are still going to get something out of, like, Sora's story and Sora, like, where Sora starts and ends up. Which I think, like, that's the trouble with this game in a lot of ways, is, like, both a good and a bad thing. It's a similar complaint to Final Fantasy 15, although I don't think it's nearly as egregious here, but it's very much like this is Sora's story, and they're kind of, like, locked on him as, like, the central figure of it. They don't spend enough time go into the other stories that are also like important, essentially protagonists of this franchise. And I think like another thing that would be fleshed out in a kind of remixed version of it would be just kind of spending more time with your other Guardians of Light. But I mean, Kyrie got a little shafted in this game, and that's kind of a bummer. Obviously, considering she gets totally murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she's like the only character that gets like straight up murked.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks. And I think like especially if you think back to 2012 when we saw the ending of Birth by or Dream Drop Distance, is like she's like gonna step up now, and we never really get that paid off. It makes me wonder, because there are a lot of parts of Kingdom Hearts 3 that I was surprised ended up being moving parts toward the future. It makes me wonder if Kyrie is one of those moving parts toward the future.
Yeah.
I'm tired of her being the end goal. Like Kingdom Hearts 1, finding Kyrie, reclaiming her heart was the main goal. Next one was reuniting with Kyrie, and then at the end it's like she starts becoming a badass, and it's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. And then this one is just like she's off somewhere training. We never get to see her like starting to become a badass, and the only time we kind of see her fighting is when we run and interject to fight alongside her briefly, and then she gets kidnapped, which leads her to get murdered. So it's like so many people, I know friends of mine, especially girl gamers that are really into the series, were so excited to see Kyrie like become a badass, like now that she has a Keyblade.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that payoff. Like we don't see her be a badass.
Yeah. It's one of few payoffs we don't get.
Yeah.
And I think like it's a credit to the game and how well it delivers all of its successes, that like I think that it outshines and overshadows that, but it is still a bummer.
Yeah.
We get this great scene. The only really thing I wanted to focus on from like the night before is like this great scene between Ven and Aqua where they're finally back together and they're holding their wayfinders. And like, we're gonna save Terra. And this is the point with me as a player being like, I don't care what I have to do. I'm saving Terra.
Especially when you think in their mind that it's like the biggest lost cause because of how everything went with him. Like, how the hell is he coming back?
Yeah. So. And it's great because like there's a moment where they are like, where the fuck did Terra end up?
There's a lot of really good stuff with that. We're just like, I don't fucking know where that guy is.
Like in the transition of like Xehanort to New Body to him getting split up, and like them realizing like shit, like Xehanort was in Terra's body when he was younger, like them splitting is like when the split happened, where the fuck did Terra go? And everyone's like, I don't know. That's a great question. And we're like, yeah, we know. But obviously like the kind of that payoff of like where he was the whole time is very good.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I knew it, but me and my friend both called it. We were like, this is the only place. Like if you try to like piece out everything together that makes sense with all the crazy shit that is Kingdom Hearts, it's the only thing that made sense.
It did make sense.
We called it, and it was like, yeah.
It was a thing of like hiding in plain sight that I didn't see coming that I really liked.
Especially because it doesn't help that I mean, I guess we can just spoil it. Whatever, it's SPOILERCAST. It's the Heartless Darkness Guardian thing.
Dark
that's
Shadow,
with
baby.
Ansem. Yeah, that's with Ansem in the first game. So that's where you get confused. You're like, that's also Terra? Like that's where it got confusing on like piecing that together. But yeah, that Guardian is Terra, and
it's his heart, baby.
It's restrained.
Clinging out at that moment where he rips the mask out. Fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lingering Will just coming in and like wrecking shit, man.
That was really good. And like, and as soon as that song starts playing too, when he appears, and you're just like, yes.
And him using the Keyblade transformations he used on you, like,
it's so good.
You know they like
and they got their
handcrafted
cape
that
back.
scene. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, their capes.
The Keyblade capes are back, baby.
Finally.
The Keyblade graveyard scene starts off with this great like big battle between your team and like billions of like heartless nobodies and unversed.
Yeah,
they brought the train back. It's very much like calling back to the Thousand Heartless battle in Kingdom
Mhm.
Hearts 2,
Mm-hmm.
but like even on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like it's a little bit of a shady effect of like the way that they use draw distance to like animate in like a certain amount of
Yeah.
character models, but
They
like that's
they
how
did the same thing in 2
yeah,
as
and that's how they
well.
did it in 2. So like for me, it was kind of like a nostalgic, like this is kind of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like a mechanical callback to that encounter as well.
Mhm.
But then a big demon tide shows up and just kills everybody, dude. It's over.
Yeah.
No,
we
we
all
had
did.
Jensen come beat Baller, be
Oh,
like,
that's when you come back later. But like the first time you go through, Sword gives up and Riku tries to
Yeah.
protect him, and then everybody gets murked, and you go, and it's like a black screen. It's just and everybody, and it was bad. It was like
Yeah.
and the heroes lost, and dark and light faded from the world.
And you're just like, Jesus.
Yeah, which I loved. Another like kind
Mhm.
of sight gag along the lines of like Kingdom Hearts 2.9. And then yeah, you go to the final world, which you're told is the station of departure. It's like its true form of like this place that
Mhm.
somewhere between
Mhm.
death and sleep, limbo, basically.
when you don't choose to go there, it's like you're forced there.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I like that again the station of departure being like this weird mystical opening to all the Kingdom Hearts games. I've
Mhm.
always really liked because it
Mhm.
adds this sense of mysticism to Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
this magic beyond your understanding of like this
Mhm.
place that you come in your dreams that prepares you for your journey.
Mhm.
It coming back and being like a place that hearts go for a specific reason, I really
Mhm.
like. And we get to meet little Chirithy here,
Mhm.
hanging out, being adorable. Was there a moment for any of you guys where you're like, I don't know where this is gonna go? Like, I'm not super invested in Union Cross, so I don't know
Yeah, I was
how
gonna
feel
say,
about
yeah,
this.
like, yeah, it was that. It's definitely
I'm
a thing.
really glad I watched like a 50-minute long video that summed up things from Union Cross up to this point,
I
because it
didn't watch that
definitely
until after the
helped.
fact.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think I watched that one. I just watched the thing that's in 2.8.
yeah.
So I had back cover. So like I had like a general idea. Like I knew that
Mhm.
thing was from the mobile game, but I was like, I didn't 100% know if there were some.
Oops, I'm back.
Sorry,
Yeah, it was
Justin will
just-
figure his stuff out.
Yeah, so I didn't know if like that world in particular was maybe something from that even too. Like I was just like, but like it was even so, like that was like I really liked that whole
Yeah.
like scene and like that whole like it felt like so like nothing you had seen in a Kingdom Hearts game before, but like it
Yeah.
still like made
Yeah.
sense in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like you said, it like revitalized that like weird mystery this franchise has always had, like with that
Mm-hmm.
in the same way. And like it was just really cool to walk around and like really trippy. Of course, like I tried taking so many pictures and weird selfies with like trying to get as many different weird Soras like flying around or sliding
I
around
should've
on the
done
ground. And I was like sitting there just like trying to take up as
Mhm.
many pictures as like dumb pictures as possible doing that.
Did you guys stumble on the like the special like heart person
So
that had the extended just like sort of sits down the voiced over special star?
there are a couple of those, as it
Yeah.
turns out, and I missed the one that is supposedly Nominee. But I did find one that I believe is, what's her name?
Streliza, Marluxia's sister.
No, although I think she's in there too. There's one that's
Mhm,
like
that's the one I got.
there's one that's like the forerunner, foreteller, the one that's
Foretellers.
Yeah, that's
Vera or whatever?
yeah.
Something
I know
like
I
that.
got one of them. I think it was that
Might have
one.
been Ava,
Yeah, I
Ava,
think that's what
yes.
it was.
because
Ava.
Ava was the one that doesn't appear in the secret.
Yeah, yeah.
Or not the epilogue.
Yeah, Ava is the one.
Yeah.
Ava or whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
that is the one that I talked to. Which it's interesting how like she is now like becoming this interesting background character throughout
Mhm.
the narrative.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where that goes. But since we are kind of getting into the final act here, we don't necessarily have to go through it beat by beat. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I wanted to kind of get what was your either something that you didn't expect or a payoff that you really really liked. And we can start with you this time, Justin.
But it was the Union Cross thing.
Really? Okay. We didn't get there. So.
Okay, so I should wait for that then.
No, you gotta talk about it. That's why I'm saying, like, instead of like going beat by beat, let's talk about like, what was a big one for you.
So yeah, once this final world thing happens and you come back, and this is when I started bawling. Just because as somebody who does play Kingdom Hearts Unchained, and really enjoys that game and likes that story and where those characters are, when Sora's like, all right, I'm not giving up, all of a sudden, just in the air, just the Keyblades that have been barren in this graveyard start flying through the sky. I'm like, oh no. And then you see Ephemer, I think it's Ephemer.
Yeah. Something like that.
A character from Unchained, saying, oh, what does he say exactly?
You need a hand?
Yeah, you need a hand. And I'm like, oh god, I can't. And I just start bawling as all the Keyblades, because like in my mind, one of them is mine, because I participated in this Keyblade War kind of thing, playing the game since it came out. And then all that starts happening, and Sora's riding on all of them.
Throwing the Keyblades.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
cool, dude.
And then that happens. So there was an event in the game. Sadly, my name's not in there. I wasn't that good at the game when this event took place, but there was an event to do like a high score challenge, and the players who got a certain high score, there's 625, I think, got their names of their characters in that sequence.
Wow.
And as soon as I started seeing the names and the unions that they're part of, I started crying. I almost died during that scene because all I'm doing is just bashing triangle as
through the blurry tears.
Just,
like,
the tears blurred my complete vision.
I hope you went back and watched it because visually it's like one of the most incredible scenes.
Yeah, it's insane.
Crazy.
I'm not, because I'm worried it's going to happen again. Because I really don't know if I'm going to cry each time I watch it, just because that was the moment, obviously the start of like everything else that comes.
Yeah.
But like, this is what being a fan of this series is like. Like, just seeing that. Even like just trying to see if my name was in there, because I didn't remember at that time because my brain was just
you're fried,
mush. That if my name was in there, and just seeing all that just destroyed me, almost more than some other scenes that are coming up.
Almost though.
Yeah, just because it was more real, like seeing real life people's names from the game in there, and the love that Nomura and Square is giving us, the fans, in that moment. Like I said, I pictured my Keyblade in one of their somewhere that he's riding on, and that just destroyed me.
That was a really cool thing about that moment too, because obviously it's a very cool moment, and then like Union Cross is the command that ends up finishing it. A lot of great reaction commands. Names like the Sora one in particular, Union Cross is very good, and then Trinity obviously at the very end. But yeah, like as someone who was not in that game, I just on the outside looking in, I was like, this is really fucking cool.
Same.
But like that was my thought of like, I can't imagine how someone who put hours of their time into that game is now seeing this moment in this game, and like they must be losing their mind. Totally were. It was you, Justin.
It was I don't play a crazy amount. That's what I know, and this is why I asked you before, Alex. I think I was on the podcast when you were talking about it. But like, I kind of hope that people seeing that, yes, it's a great moment, blah 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 blah, and even how the story goes by the end of it, I do hope people who did not play it give it a shot. Yes, it's a gacha game. You have to get the great, good, better, stronger medals so you can play through.
Let me tell you about my good medals.
But how the game is now, if you pull a couple times just to get the medals so you can actually put them on your keyblades and stuff, oh, you won't have any problems with the main story. Like, you can probably use one of them and beat the mission. The story bits in Union Cross are very well worth it, and that's why I don't know how much I want to bring it up, because of some of the scenes in between with Marluxia, Larxene, and stuff that are very heavy, because those references are, guess what, from Union Cross. We haven't gotten to it in America yet, but they are in Japan, and we've seen those scenes.
Yeah, the fan translations of them.
Yeah. So, like, the scenes are going to matter, and I feel like Union Cross is more set for the coming story, which, again, in the epilogue is shown. So I'm kind of hoping people do give it a shot. The story's fun, sad in some points, especially with Strelitzia. But yeah, with how the game is now, you can easily play through the story, no problems, without any worry. And I do hope people do give it a shot after playing through this and seeing where it goes.
I think they will. Scott, what about you? What was your big moment in this finale?
The Union Cross was really, really big. I've played a bit of Union Cross as well. Not tons. I haven't caught up with the story. I'm still pretty far behind, but that was a big one. Donald Duck using Zeta Flare to protect Sora and basically killing himself. That
pitch black, baby. I love it.
That wrecked me right there.
Well, after Goofy tried to sacrifice himself by getting hit in the head with a rock, it was Donald's turn.
Yeah, it was Donald's turn. The thing is, I saw a fake spoiler tweet like the night before I started playing that said Donald Duck dies, and I knew, like, going off the person that tweeted it, I knew it was a fake spoiler. Yeah. But I was like, man, if that person knew how close they were, of like how wild this game really actually for real is.
Yep.
And I think Kairi getting killed, especially like how she got killed, because I know even going into it, like, there is a lot of the discussion was either Sora would die or Riku would die. Like, I really didn't see many people thinking that Kairi would die.
Yeah.
And then having her, like, just cut down, like, boom, right down the back. It was
in front of Sora.
Yeah, right in front of Sora. Like, it's just like, holy
pitch
crap.
Black, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that was, it's on. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking wreck you now.
That was such a good moment of, like, the final moment before the final boss too.
Yeah.
It was like the stakes are real type moment. Mike, what stands out for you? Please bring up the one that no one has brought up yet.
Oh gosh.
From like all the Keyblade graveyard battles and payoffs.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I should basically just all of them at a certain point. Like, there's so many good payoffs like throughout those. I think there's actually two moments particular that stand out through those whole scenes. The first one was seeing the 3-5-8 characters all reunite together.
The 2019 most hype moment.
Yeah.
Roxas' re-entry into the world.
Yeah, he like re-enters and then like it's like that's a really cool. That's like obviously like so super cool. Badass moment. Yeah. But like not even that specifically. It was after you complete it. And then like everything goes on and you keep going and then all three of them just come together and just like
and hug.
Break down together, and I was just like, yes.
It's not just like that, it's the realness of like you move on and like there's a sigh of relief and Axel just looks over at Shion and she's just sobbing. Like lost all composure of like the idea that somebody remembered her and would fight for her has like shocked her beyond belief. And then like everyone coming together, it's like it's very real. Like it's like a heart-wrenching moment that is more than what I was prepared for.
It was so much.
And that was the moment you were talking about with me, Alex. Like if it wasn't the Union Cross because of playing it, for sure Xion, because I've always said she's the
She's such a
tragic
sad
heroine of
character.
this whole show, of the
Yeah.
whole series.
Yeah, and just like her
Um,
getting like this payoff was like enough for me. Of,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
man,
Yep.
this is so genuine.
And then like being like very coy about Xion like for like the majority of the game. And then like as soon as you like see kind of like the 13 together, and you like you kind of put it together and be like, oh man,
yeah,
it's coming.
The
Like
backups.
yeah, and then you see that like her put the keyblade up like shakily at Axel's face, and you're just like, oh,
It's too real, too real.
here it comes. We're finally
Before-
getting here. And then
Before you even walk in there, I immediately texted you, Alex, because like you can see him fighting as you're
yeah,
walking
that was so
Yeah.
cool.
So all of a sudden, I just start walking up, and I just see the hooded person with the normal Kingdom Keyblade. As the game texted Alex saying, "Dude, I'm already crying."
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I was already crying,
Yeah.
knowing
I'm
what
pretty
was
sure I
gonna
just
happen.
said strap in at that point too, because
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
how much realer it was gonna get.
Yeah, and it's just there. Yeah, it's like just like that, like we said many times now. Like just like that, like the whole roller coaster between those scenes of like going and like like basically kind of having to decide which battle to go to, decide how you want to be emotionally broken, like which path you want to go,
Yeah.
like which one you want to go to like have this climactic battle with like this villain that you've seen and like enemy you've had through this entire like all these other games.
It feels so great too,
Yeah.
like, because it feels so intense. It's like the battle has started, the war is happening, like,
Yeah.
and like it does the same kind of gameplay thing of like when you're walking up, it like cuts between the two things without like going into a cutscene.
Yeah.
And it's like very intense, and it feels like the pressure is on. And then as soon as you start walking toward one door, like a timer starts and walls closing in.
Yeah. Okay, fuck, let's do this. And
Yeah,
just
Gotta go.
I was so worried, like the first time you have to choose whether to go
Yeah.
after
You're like, oh
Mickey
God,
and
don't lock
Riku
me off.
or Axel and Kyrie.
Let them
it was,
die.
It
Yeah.
was like,
I-
oh my
I
god,
know.
am I literally choosing who's going to live and who's going to die right
Yeah,
here?
What I was
this
thinking.
is just the Mass Effect 2 ending of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, like the suicide mission
Yeah.
finally comes through. Like,
Jesus.
Part of me wishes something would happen, like depending on who you choose. Like in the end, you only have like the characters you chose as like your assists or like your backup for like the final time. I think that could have been really cool. But I'm like, for my heart and my soul, I'm glad
Yeah.
my choice didn't kill these characters. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't choose to kill Mickey Mouse.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
And it was like, because that first choice is like Mickey and then Riku. I looked at Riku, I'm like, he'll be fine.
That's what I thought. I'm like, he fought these guys before. He's good.
Yeah.
Like, Riku can take care of
It's
himself.
also
and then-
he's also literally fighting himself, which is still
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
I went
Because
to
of
Riku
weird.
first. I let Mickey fend for himself because fucking I remember playing as Mickey in Kingdom Hearts 2 and him saving my ass and it's like, Mickey, you're
he got this covered.
yeah,
it's just
yeah, I went
just
to.
curl everywhere. Just
I'm pretty sure I went to Riku first.
flip
too.
around like Yoda.
Mhm.
I should have gone to Riku in the first time, but again, my thought was like, if I only get to choose one, I feel like if there's gonna be some weird, horrible chance where the other person dies, Riku can take care of himself.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
If
I like-
anything.
I like that they manufacture those stakes for you though, because you don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
at
you
that
don't.
point.
You
Yep.
just don't know what's gonna happen.
It's like being in that moment is hard to replicate.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd say the one other moment that really got me was getting to the end, or not like that the basically the quote unquote some ways final boss before the whole final act, where you're literally fighting the three main bosses of like the whole series at once.
Oh yeah.
You're fighting
Mhm.
That
Ansem
was
from Kingdom Hearts
so
1,
cool.
Zenmist from Kingdom Hearts 2, and like young Xehanort from Dream
From
Drop,
Dream
and it's just
Drop
like
instance, yeah.
you're fighting them all at the same time, and it's just like, man, this is insane that this is like literally happening. Like
Mhm.
like this is like a Dragon Ball Z level, like ridiculous, like they're blowing up planets kind of moment in some ways, because you're just
Along with
fighting final boss
uh,
at the same time. It's
Riku
so
and
cool.
Mickey.
Yeah, with Riku
Yeah.
and Mickey
Yeah.
on the side.
Like that would have been so cool if Kyrie was there. It was like the
Right.
destiny.
She was dead.
She was dead by then.
I know she was dead by that point, but it would have been. I think that would have been such a perfect time, not killing her before the fight,
Hmm.
but showing just like how much she has grown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
To
like,
see the
okay,
three
it's the
Destiny Island
original
kids
three,
work
the
together.
Destiny
Yeah.
Island trio, how far they've come. They're taking on the huge big bads.
Yeah, and I think the thing I also liked about this scene a lot was it's kind of like an underlying theme that was going through all these fights was like, even though these characters have all gotten Norded and kind of have come to this side, they all kind of know that they were all pawns in this. Like they didn't really have like a choice or deciding factor. And even seeing like Ansem, like the Heartless of, like they're basically like the Heartless and Nobodies and different versions of Xehanort, basically knowing like, man, we got fucking used by myself or something. I don't know. Like that was like a weird like moment, but like it like worked so well.
You get these little kind of closing monologues with all the villains
Yeah.
that are very good.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
all
Really
of them
well
are
done.
very good. There's not one that is like in particular bad.
Yeah.
Like, and it's cool because you see that these antagonists have come a long way too.
Yeah.
And you see how, because Sora.
Sora essentially affected them in some way. You can like see
Sora's
that all.
changed who these people are, and so like what you were saying, Mike, of like how he's grown so much. Like Brendan Williams, who used to do video for the site, like he always had his big complaint with Kingdom Hearts 2, and it was like a justified complaint, was how Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2 is so like cold and antagonistic to these nobodies. Like he doesn't try to help them at all. Because he was told by Yen Sid that they had no hearts, and like whatever, fuck off then. Like I'm not gonna deal with you. And then obviously as the story went on, he meets Roxas in Dream Drop Distance. He has that moment where he feels all the feelings he's felt. He's like, you do have a heart. Like I know you do. And he like then goes to like carrying that in him throughout this whole journey. So his reaction to beating these organization members at the end, like him saying to Luxor, like, hey, maybe next time, like when you come back, we're gonna be friends. Like we can play a real game.
Yeah.
Or like,
Let's play cards, please. I hope
play
that's in
cards.
Kingdom Hearts 4. I want to play a card game with Luxor.
there's gonna be dominoes, just like Red Dead 2. But like that, and like the Ansem's Xemnas' scene where he's like, the first emotion I feel in years is sorrow.
Yeah.
It's like,
just like Jesus.
Christ.
And that he
Yeah.
actually felt bad that he lost all his original 13 members.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
He like felt
I'm like,
regret.
oh my
and-
god.
Or like
Yeah.
Sayek saying to Axel, like, the reason that I got so angry was jealousy, and I was
Yeah.
holding on to the idea that I didn't have emotions when I was just feeling one really strong the whole time. And it's like, man, like this is
I
like,
felt like you left me behind.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah. Just,
Like Marluxia's redemption, like Larxene, like playfully admitting that she was kind of in it because of Marluxia, like she was here
Yeah.
for him, like
mhm.
It's your
just
secret,
very
man.
good stuff.
Well, Larxene was like best friends with Marluxia's sister
Yes.
in Union Cross.
Yep.
And small little tangent, real quick, that as I was talking about Kyra, I remembered. If they have had access to a training ground outside of time this whole time, wouldn't that have been a good place to send Sora to train to get his powers back?
You can only
Or
take two.
anyone.
The hyperbolic time chamber can only hold two. Come on, dude.
Yeah. It's true.
And also,
You
when
know this.
The giant
And
open forest.
yeah, I mean,
outside-
but also like when Yen Sid says to regain your powers, he tells him to do it in the best way you can. Like he tells him to make your heart be your guiding key. So like he was basically sending Sora off to like guide himself and find his powers in his own way.
Sora can only get his powers through a Kingdom Hearts ass adventure.
Yes, and that's exactly what
also,
they did. in
This is the
game.
bullshit of this series has protected itself
Yes.
from your cynicism, Scott.
also it doesn't help either that when you get the Winnie the Pooh book back from Merlin, Sora walks up to him and says, "Yeah, you told me to come," and Merlin's like, "Wait, did I?" Well, clearly he doesn't remember anything, so he
He's
probably doesn't
drunk.
even remember Axel and Kyrie's even in this other
He's just
world.
drinking
Yeah.
whiskey.
Well,
with
it was
Coke and Ratatouille
Jensen that
restaurant.
told him that later on that Kyrie and them were in a training area outside of time.
Yeah,
It wasn't Merlin, I think,
That's
that told
true.
him.
Yeah.
we need more
was-
information on this.
But it was like Merlin's world. Like Jensen tells Sora that like Merlin created this world for him to train or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
The
when
whole
they see
training
Merlin,
of
it's
Kyrie
just like,
and Lee just needs to be drastically expanded and kind of
Show me the
upped a
world.
bit more.
Yeah,
Show
show me
me
it's
it
not
on
a
the world
forest.
map.
Show me it's not a just a big forest or something.
If they
Sure.
can show Destiny Islands as a big white ball in Birth by Sleep, they could have shown this made-up world in Kingdom Hearts 3.
The out of time
Yeah.
for us.
Okay,
tangent over. Sorry.
Tangent over. No, it's
That
good.
came to.
For me, like the big payoff is the Roxas moment.
Mhm.
Man, I love Roxas.
That new theme, man. When that theme, you know he's coming, and you hear the theme.
I
you're
was
just
like the light, like the meteors coming down from the sky, and I just started crying.
yeah.
like I was just like, oh no!
Here comes the boy.
Yeah, it was good. God, he just pulls out the 2 keyblades because he's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
The end. We create a portal into Xehanort's streaming world. His Scala ad Kylum, where it all began, deep into the past. I love this moment. I love like I think I might have talked to you guys about it. I know I've talked to you about it, Justin, but I like really was frustrated with Dream Drop Distance because of the kind of bullshit factor that it added to the series. Like 2 on top of like the stuff that was already there, obviously like time travel and the rules and all with it. But I really liked how they paid off that stuff and kind of they didn't like Deus Ex Machina it, but they made it all make sense and pay off in a very smart way here. Like them just saying like, hey, we need to make a bunch of replicas because we're bringing all these hearts through time. They don't have bodies. Like that's like something that you don't really get from Dream Drop Distance. Like we need to make sense of this. So like that just being contextualized. So this like going into this like distracting Xehanort in this kind of weird alternate time version of his heart in the Scala ad Kylum, whatever, is very good. When you walk into that area, like just one of the most breathtaking areas in a Kingdom Hearts game to date.
Yeah,
and it's like the perfect location for a final boss fight, you know?
And Nomura even said that's his favorite world of like
Yeah.
all time that he created.
Yeah.
Also, just as a heads up, don't watch the Roxas and Roxas return scene while you're being filmed.
Dude, as soon as I
real good, buddy.
I was like, oh, okay, I feel it coming. We're gonna pause that.
when I was talking about
don't need to hear that.
when I was talking about the Union Cross, I almost started tearing up just talking about it. So you're good.
I got choked up talking about that when I talked about it with Damashin, so I feel you.
Roxas is just like, hands off my friends. It's like,
so melodramatic.
so good.
I love
Ad Kylum.
I love this whole final encounter. I think it's so cool. It's like visually like one of the coolest things they've done in Kingdom Hearts. Obviously, like all the 13 pieces of Xehanort's heart, like just embodying themselves in these armored figures that like are very cool and just like the character design in this game, like across the board, like all the enemy designs, it was like stellar. But like
Plot is in now, guys.
Yeah. Finally. But yeah, it just looks great. Obviously the fight is cool, the way you're fighting all 13 of them, and then they join back together and you fight Xehanort in his Keyblade armor. Very good.
Shit, that armor's so good.
And then you come to the top and fight Xehanort with the Keyblade. Because motherfucker, I don't know if you... I love, man, the scene where you go to the top and Xehanort's like, I thought you knew about connections. Like, all the worlds are connected under one sky, one destiny. I'm like, man, this fucking opening line from Kingdom Hearts 1 is the greatest shit I have ever heard.
So good.
I know it's like it's in your Twitter name, Mike, and I thought about putting it in mine too. Of like, it is really this idea that everything is connected. And just like Xehanort literally throwing what makes Sora powerful back in his face of like, you're connected to everything, so am I. It's like very good. Oh, it's very good.
Yes.
That whole boss fight is really cool too. I like how it is kind of like this. It feels like a refreshing and new version of some of the coolest stuff that we see in Birth by Sleep.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about the ending of Xehanort's story? For me personally, it worked very well. But I haven't heard from you.
Eric was coming back or being in the guys in Terra's Heart. Just that was so good, and I'm just so glad that Square didn't pull a Final Fantasy trope where it's some random ass big evil that you've never heard of before that's suddenly the big bad, or Kingdom Hearts itself, or we find out that Xehanort was just possessed the whole time by some big bad.
Yeah,
Right.
I think there was real fear for that too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay, the Xehanort Saga's over. Yes. But like, part of me, like, just deep down, especially with how the epilogue and stuff went, and since you played at least a little bit of Union Cross, or you're seeing it, clearly, Master of Masters is behind this whole fucking shit. Like,
But like, that's
it's
the
not
thing,
important to this. Yeah, it's not important to this whole story, but like deep down, like part of me knows he's the reason for all this. Obviously, it's not going to matter in these next games. It's going to be his story and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just part of me is like, especially because it's like Xehanort gets this happy ending for him. Like, oh, yep, I was wrong this whole time. And that was probably because of this push from the Master of Masters and stuff like that, and Lushu, which I'll just say Lushu for now, until we get to that part. That, yeah, it's kind of felt like it was them pushing this along the whole time because it's in the Book of Prophecies. Guess what? But yes. Besides that,
I mean, like,
yes,
here's
Xehanort's done. Like, that whole his story's done.
My feeling isn't like, because my concern was like, especially like the opening scene happens and you see Xehanort has like gray eyes, and I was like, oh, Xehanort got Norted. Like, that was my first thought when starting this game, which is a red herring, to be fair, but like it's a very good one, I think.
Yeah.
And it was more of like pre the darkness and post the darkness and kind of the commitment to this. I don't think the Master of Masters like engineered this. I think he just saw it coming because of that is what his Keyblade allows him to see.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell because obviously we only have a couple scenes of him. It just, he feels very shady for good reasons.
Yeah.
So like, that's where part of me is like, yes, maybe he did know this stuff was going to happen. Kind of helped engineer it to happen because he knew.
But I think it's more of like, he was privy to it happening, but he didn't influence it happening. I think like Xehanort was still very much like,
no, and that's,
and this was his plan, and this was a thing that had to be dealt with, and he just happened to get that Keyblade along that way, and Lushu losing it was obviously like a setback for him. So
yeah, and that's where I was kind of getting at. Like, yes, it's Xehanort. Like I said, I don't think he was influenced by the bigger baddie, but like deep down, just maybe poking a little bit in that right direction was him. Not, like I said, it's not like
this setting up, like with the whole Master of Masters thing and his Keyblade seeing through the ages. As long as someone carries it, he can see through it. I see a point, some climactic moment in a future game where that Keyblade gets broken and it's like, oh, this isn't in the Book of Prophecies. We're going into like unknown territory. Holy crap, so what's going to happen? I feel that's being set up.
I think that's like a good like Kingdom Hearts 5, like Dark Middle Chapter of whatever next trilogy they would try and do, too. Like, I think that could totally happen. What were you gonna say, Mike? Because it sounded like you.
I wasn't gonna get into the whole speculation parts yet. I would still want to talk about the end.
Yeah, and I want to get into that. It's just a big boss thing.
We'll definitely get into all that. I think, man, I just think that whole sequence of the boss, like you said, it's like an incredible like setup, getting to Scala out of column, and then doing that whole fight and like going through like the city like folding in on itself, and then you're in the underwater scene and you're seeing like the tower from, I guess that's is Union Cross or back cover. And you're just like, what, like, so clearly these two places are connected in some way, I guess is what they're kind of teasing at.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you see it.
Yeah, and that's so I'm very curious I'm definitely curious because they like all of this. I feel like the whole Scala Ad Column stuff was like, even before you get to the epilogue and the story, I feel like all of this is like setting up for what's to come. Like I feel
we
like
have to get a game where we can like explore a Scala.
I
like,
think so
hands
for sure.
down.
Yeah.
Either that or in Final Mix. Just let me explore.
Yeah, or Final Mix expand it more. Totally.
And it's funny too, because we know that Xehanort is from Destiny Islands, but like we don't know how he got from there to here.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if this is really a time when all the worlds are connected,
Yeah.
before
And
they were separated, like that's it. It logistically asks a lot of great questions.
yeah, and there's like the whole payoff scene of the ending of that battle is very good, where they pull the fake death on you. It's very fun.
Oh yeah,
and
you mash the button and the sword comes back. And
Yeah.
Trinity command comes up.
Trinity command comes up, and then you blast them with Donald and Goofy's help. That was all very good. Yeah, like you said, getting into Ericus hiding in Terra's heart, and then having that scene where they basically kind of turn back into kids and they're just like, it's over, man. We played our game. It's like our time is up, kind of thing.
Yeah, just like this idea that Xehanort, and like I always kind of took him as that, like the person that had taken on the dark role so that no one else had to. Like, he like has good intentions, but like obviously
he was
the worst way of going about them.
Exactly.
And
Especially
the moment where Sora's like, you're not gonna be the one that fixes this. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but you are broken. And like that, like really hitting him, and then Terra showing up, and Eric is showing up and saying like, these guys in the future, we are in the past, and we gotta let go.
Yep.
Shout out to Mark Hamill coming back though.
Yes.
Also shout out to Drake Bell for voicing
Drake
young
Bell,
Ericus. Young Ericus is Drake Bell from Drake and Josh.
It's very good.
I did
He
not.
does a great job. I couldn't tell it was him
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. Yeah,
No.
I just saw
definitely.
the credits roll and I just saw his name pop up and I was like, what?
Someone
Take.
told me while I was playing through the game, I was like, that can't be right. So like when he comes back later, I was like, oh my god, like this can't be real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that Kingdom Hearts money, you know?
Yeah, making the bank.
But yeah, I really like. I love that Kingdom Hearts is a game that ends in friendship, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole lot of ending stuff that comes up after this.
Yeah, there's a lot of ending, but like this villain, the end of his arc is like he's broken again by his friendship with someone else. Like,
Yeah.
no one is like the theme of like never give up on your friends is like so pervasive. Like it coming back to this ending is perfect.
Yeah.
And
It all comes back around to that.
And then when Ericus was hugging Aqua, Terra, and Ben,
Oh yeah.
and like saying goodbye, oh my
They
god.
get you one more time before the credits
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah, they gotta get
Him
you.
apologizing to what he put Ventus through, and
Yeah.
And what he did to
Yeah.
Terra, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. It's very good.
See, I'm starting to cry about that.
It's very good, and you know we get the last scene of them coming back, and Sora saying, "I gotta go find Kyrie. He's got to go on his own." That is like Mickey's like foreshadowing like some shit. Like, listen, man, you might never come back from this. Like, I know how this is gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
there's no surprises left here. Like, I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm done. I know this is gonna go one way. And then obviously we kind of get the ending played out through the epilogue, through to the secret ending. So the epilogue, the foretellers are back, all but one. Luciu summons him back to the Keyblade graveyard. He's gotten his Keyblade back. He was given from the Master of Masters. He has changed multiple times, we are to assume. And
his latest one was a doozy.
yeah, Braig, Luxord, or Zigbar, not Luxord.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like that was like that was that kind of twist that I liked. I didn't necessarily like wanted him to be the Master of Masters or something like that.
Yeah.
I like that it was Luciu, and it makes sense that Zigbar talks like the Master of Masters because he was his apprentice. Like, those things like make sense.
Yeah.
Seeing the foretellers come back, seeing the box come back, seeing that Maleficent and Pete are still in the game.
Yep, still looking for that damn box, man.
And we still know nothing about what's inside.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I think at some point someone might have said that the Book of Prophecies is in the box, in addition to something else. But
Yeah.
um,
I think
Go ahead, Justin.
I just wanted to say before we like get past like the whole like reveal of Braig / Zigbar as Lushu, like my mind just immediately went right back to the beginning of the game. At the midway through Olympus, when you're going to Olympus, you see the back of Zigbar, and all he says is, "May your heart be your God," and that's it. It cuts off, and I immediately went back to that. I'm like, you motherfuckers,
Yeah,
hinting at that at the very beginning of the game, and it was in the back of my head. I'm like, why did you say that?
yeah.
Oh, that was
That was the one
really...
that I saw coming mostly, was that Zigbar turned out to be somebody else.
Yeah. I
But this was
figured
interesting.
he was. I figured in general because like I feel like that's going to be like an insane theory of people like dissecting everything he said now since like Birth by Sleep when he was
Yep.
like following around Xehanort. Like I feel like people are going to even dissect that stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm really
Oh
curious
yeah, I
to
was
see
gonna
it.
inherit the Keyblade.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that they pulled they like you said, they pulled it like they didn't just go like, oh, he's the Master's like, no, he's like this, he is like the apprentice and like Lushu, and like he had his own roles to play in all of whatever the Master is scheming, and I like that. Like I think that makes him like way more interesting
For sure.
to like know like what's his goals and what's he trying to accomplish, and like that was a really good reveal.
Zigbar was
I'm curious to see how long ago Lushu inhabited Zigbar or
Right.
Braig's body.
Yeah.
If he inhabited after Braig became a nobody and became Zigbar,
Yeah.
or if Lushu was Braig who then became a nobody.
We have to assume it was before. Like I feel like he had to be kind of like looking for that key for a while. That's my
Yeah,
assumption.
And it's hard to say because everybody looks the same for the most part. Like Larium
I mean, like,
and Unchained still looks like Marluxia kind of thing. So
right.
I'm assuming Braig is Lushu. It's just when they were saying about how he looked, I think it was because he got those freaking scars and everything, and losing the eye, and I think that's more what they were talking about. But at least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it happened by the time he was Zigbar, so it was after Birth by Sleep, because he refers to himself as Zigbar. So like instead of calling himself Braig, that was my thought of like maybe it happened while he was already a nobody, which would have been after Birth by Sleep.
And if he was a nobody, he would have been easier to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was already kind of easily to take over. So that was.
And I was gonna say, didn't they make him a nobody again? Because like in the weird like 3D last scene, the young Xehanort is like, well, now I'm back to being a nobody.
Yeah.
Well, the opening scene of Dream Drop Distance. There's a lot of interesting. Like Zigbar always felt like he had some kind of machination afoot. So
yeah,
Mhm.
like he was kind of there
There's
for
a
his
lot
own
to digest.
reasons.
yeah, so I like Zigbar a lot. He's like one of my favorite organization members.
Yeah,
But know that he's going to kind of continue to be an irrelevant character is exciting.
yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely.
We get the ending. Sora disappears. Pays some kind of toll.
Bait and switch.
Very,
that is-
very, very effective scene.
Yes.
That's like it's fun too because like obviously there's a lot of games that have done something at least similar to this. Like Final Fantasy X is the big one, but I've not talked to anyone that's like outwardly upset with like Sora, like the kind of lack of a full happy ending, right? Like it doesn't feel unjustified. It doesn't feel cheap or unearned, which is impressive. But Sora, like, presumed not dead. Like I never took this as Sora died, but I took it as a similar thing of what happened to Kairi, of like his heart got kind of pushed to some other world, other end of the worlds. And then we get our secret movie, which kind of leads to a lot of speculation here. So let's get into it.
Oh, yeah.
We see Sora wake up in Shibuya, in what could undoubtedly be considered Tokyo. And what's great is I had somebody explain to me that there's a building reference in here that is actually a specific building from The World Ends With You.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which could very well mean that this is a World's End With You world. But we also see what looks to be possibly the Master of Masters or Zigbar. We see Riku in this world, and we see the protagonist from Virum Rex into some capacity in this world. And I guess Virum Rex, like the whole trailer and everything that they played, is like very much a reinterpretation of the original pitch for Final Fantasy Versus 13. Which I did not know and found out recently. So in some ways, Virum Rex is kind of like the spiritual reinterpretation of the original game that would go on to become Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
But what I took from this, and kind of like, and we can trade theories here, is that this is them kind of getting away from Kingdom Hearts. I saw this as like the next Kingdom Hearts game where Riku goes looking for Sora, who's lost in Square Enix worlds. I just assumed that this was a Virum Rex kind of like made up Square Enix world, but hearing that it's a World Ends With You area, and I guess they have some kind of allegory for limbo or death as well, and it would make sense that if Sora did lose his heart or was close to death or did die in some way, that he would go to that equivalent world in the World Ends With You. And apparently, from the Easy Ally spoiler cast, I heard that the last thing Neko says to you, or not Neku, I think it's Joshua says to you in Dream Drop Distance. Last thing he says to Sora is let's meet in Shibuya.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good if that was.
Yeah.
But the idea of a Kingdom Hearts 4 where you're going through like Shibuya from the World Ends With You or Midgar or things like that, like going through these series of Final Fantasy worlds where like Final Fantasy is the main worlds and Disney is kind of like the interpreted along for the ride side thing, because I don't think they would hint at Maleficent and Pete still being around
Yeah.
and totally remove Disney, which was
Yeah.
my first thought. That might be a possibility, but I think that sounds awesome. And I also like the idea of the roles reversing and Riku going to save Sora, but still playing as Sora to some extent. Maybe even still as the main hero. What did you guys think? Scott?
I think this teases more a big final mix DLC and not so much like the next saga. It almost wasn't cryptic enough to be a new saga announced, like the next big game to me, because I feel like all the other secret movies have been like really cryptic and mysterious, hooded figures, the armors, everything like that. This was too blatant, I want to say. And like in terms of, I thought it was incredibly strange that they would take the time to animate and rig Riku for only controlling him for maybe 5 minutes total through the whole game. So what I'm thinking is like Riku will have a big portion, or you'll be able to play big sections of the game as Riku in the final mix version. And maybe when Riku goes to the Toy Story world, he goes to Virum Rex. So this might just be him revisiting the Toy Story world, and this is where he is. I noticed that it was Shibuya, like World Ends With You. So I think that's maybe Sora looking for Kairi. I think Final Mix might expand on and add a couple more worlds where Sora is out there looking for Kairi and things like that. And then I think at the end of the Final Mix, like this DLC, we'll get another secret movie which will tease like the next saga proper. I think this is teasing the Final Mix version. Like the big DLC.
For me, like the scene where the hooded figure holds his hands up to the moon and puts the heart up to it, that was absolutely like the cryptic final bullshit that I expected, and I love that. And I also like not necessarily knowing who the hooded figure is.
Yeah.
What did you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more kind of in line with what you think, Alex. I think, like you said, like that's obvious. Like I think that's very much obviously. I have two theories. One's completely out there, but I think it's more in line with what you think, and that obviously I think Sora's in the World Ends With You world. I think it's not necessarily like the next of the whole, like basically this is going to be Kingdom Hearts 4 through 6. I think this might just be maybe the next spin-off game we're gonna get like I don't think the next Kingdom Hearts game we're gonna get is Kingdom Hearts 4. I think it's gonna be like Kingdom Hearts 3.6 passage. We're in Tokyo now or whatever. Like it's gonna be fragment whatever. It's gonna have some weird name. But I think I think it is gonna be that game though of like it's gonna be a you and I think it might even be like Dream Drop-esque because I've watched a couple of theory videos and people have pointed out that big tower that Riku walks under with the two lights. That is, I don't remember the specific name of it, but that is also in like a part of Japan in like Tokyo. So I think it might be like a Dream Drop situation where like they're in like alternate versions of this World Ends With You world and like Riku's trying to find Sora and Sora's just kind of trying to find Kairi. And I think putting VRM Rex in there kind of I think that was just like like you said, like it could be like a weird red herring thing, but I also think that's maybe just kind of being like it's more than just like I think they put that there to like mitigate it and them just being like are they in the real world, what the fuck, because that's like that was my first reaction. I think that's probably a lot of people's first reactions was they're just like, are they just in Tokyo, are they in the real world, what the hell is what? That's like a weird direction. So I think like
that was my reaction.
Yeah,
my immediate raw reaction was that.
And I think putting VRM Rex in there specifically, that then like you obviously they tease it as a video game, puts that back in your mind and being like, oh, they're like, oh, this like he's like the weird video game version of this Kingdom Hearts world. So I think that's them maybe being like, we're going to Square Enix worlds. And then I had one batshit thing which I was basically thinking it is the real world, because another thing I noticed, if you look at this particular scene and you look at some other CG cutscenes that are in this game, Sora and Riku specifically look way more realistic than they look in any other like areas of the game. Like you can see like on their clothing they have like finely stitched like threads and like all of they have like, when you see Sora's hand, he has like particles and all kinds of like things on. He has like follicles on his skin when they like zoom in on his face, which he literally doesn't have anywhere else. So like obviously it might just be like that could just be a reading in too much thing. But I also think like maybe it's like some weird thing where them doing all the stuff they did in these previous games has made everything go crazy, and now the Square Enix video games and the real world are colliding, and now Sora and Riku and now the Square Enix characters are coming into the real world, and then they're trying to make the real world Kingdom Hearts. That's my crackpot tinfoil hat theory, but I would say it's probably the other way around. That, like you said, I think but I do think it's not necessarily like the full-on trilogy of next games, but I think like the next game is going to be more centered towards where we're going to go to a bunch of Square Enix worlds, but there might also be some loose ties to like, hey, Disney stuff is still in this, and we're going to do Disney stuff will still be teased, and I think that's by and large because, like you said, this game took 7 years between the last one, and I don't think they want to keep doing that like with like other Square games. They have
Can I inject before you go, Justin? Can I inject a little bit an addendum to my theory of like where I think Kingdom Hearts is? I think one of two things. Either the next Kingdom Hearts game is just Kingdom Hearts 4, and it comes out very soon, and it's only on PS4. I think that's like the direction that this franchise is going now. Or they drop the numbers, and the next Kingdom Hearts game is a subtitled Kingdom Hearts game, a la many of the other Kingdom Hearts games, and that's just what it is from now on.
Yeah.
But either way, I think like this is a console game franchise now.
Yeah.
And there are no more spin-offs. I think this is like the games will all release on predominantly the same platform, whether that be PS4, Xbox One, or just one or the other. And it's just gonna be a straight line from now on. It's like every game matters, and we're not gonna pretend otherwise.
Right.
I think that is the direction that
for sure.
So,
we don't really have handhelds though anymore. That's
that's pretty much.
Yeah.
But
If anything, it'd be just like a downloadable game or something.
I heard the idea also that the next game would be a prequel that is basically just like Union Cross, but just done up right, and very.
Yeah.
Union
Very
Cross on a console, I would be so fucking hyped for.
And it also like leads into the future of the franchise, kind of like what they've already been doing with the Union Cross stuff.
Sure.
I also like the idea of that.
Yeah,
a lot.
and I'd also say, like, to interject just with Union Cross in general, like, I think more than likely the next story beats are going to be there before anything else. Like, it just makes too much sense that they've now interconnected that so much with now like proper console Kingdom Hearts games. Like, I think like all the story is going to start coming from that.
I'm here for the idea that everything matters, and we're not going to pretend otherwise. If that's the vibe going forward, where it's just the next Kingdom Hearts game is just the next Kingdom Hearts game, instead of kind of dancing around 1, 2, and 3, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, Justin, what do you think? Theory, give it to me.
It's not like I don't really have a theory because like I just watched it again. Sorry, guys, I was literally put it on while watching.
It's a lot to process, so I get it.
Yeah, so like again, the name of the video, the secret movie, is Yozora, which just, and I looked this up too because I did look it up before, just means night sky. So that probably means absolutely
Some
nothing.
Kingdom Hearts shit. That's the name of the character, though. The Virum Rex character. And fun fact, Noctis also night sky.
Yeah.
Yozora and Noctis are essentially siblings.
This is how Numero's just fucking gonna be able to make Versus 13. It's like, okay, it's actually like a Kingdom Hearts game?
If honestly Versus 13 is just a Kingdom Hearts game, like how fucking fun
Sora's gonna.
That would be great.
The first thing you're gonna see Sora do in this next Kingdom Hearts game is throw his Keyblade at a wall, and then teleport to it.
It's Strike Ray. He's already
Yeah. Same. Or he's gonna be sitting in the back of a car, super bummed out, just like looking at the sky. I'd be into it. I'd be like, yep.
Shibuya.
Sora dyes his hair black and is like super moody, and I'm just like, sold. Day one, I'm there.
$60.
For what it's worth, Noctis wasn't too moody. The cast in like 15 wasn't super moody.
I mean, they were pretty melodramatic characters.
Noctis was the moodiest of all.
Yeah.
So you don't really have a theory out of this, Justin? You know?
No, like even watching it now, like clearly, obviously, like Scott said, it's Shibuya. It's The World Ends With You.
Yeah.
That is not hidden at all. When you see the freaking 103 building, I don't know what else if you think it's anything else, you're crazy. The problem is the Verum Rex guy just popping in. Like, that is where it kind of just gets thrown out the window of like what to expect. Especially because Sora and Riku are there. I was thinking about this while you guys were talking, joking, like, oh yeah, the next game is just going to be The World Ends With Kingdom Hearts. That's what it's going to be called. I'm sticking with it. It works.
Yeah.
But like maybe they'll make I think they'll keep making spin-off games. Like to be able to experiment. Like that's what all the games were, is experiments telling a story.
I just don't think like they're spin-offs anymore. I think they're just
like they I think it's more so that they will be on the scale of those games and not necessarily like the scale of like this game.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's more what like the point was.
Yes, and I agree with that, and that's where I'm kind of like between both of you guys with Scott too. Like this could be quote unquote final mix, but that's where I'm thinking it's going to be. I'll just keep saying it. The World Ends With Kingdom Hearts. It's going to be its own side game. Maybe they'll make it play like World Ends With You, where Sora and Riku are fighting at the same time in the same thing, kind of thing. But maybe you're focusing on Riku because you're trying to rescue Sora.
Right.
And that might be where the Verum Rex thing comes in, where it's kind of like a game within a game kind of thing, because it's The World Ends With You. The Verum Rex thing is what throws it all off. The mystery hooded person, lots of rumors, obviously.
Most
people guessing.
Master, so.
Yeah, it's either Master of Masters, Ava, or Strelitzia. Mostly because, and we really haven't talked about this at all, but in the secret reports, but also in the game itself, it's mentioned a couple times from Lee, as well as I think Ansem, the hell's this mystery girl?
Yeah, this
It
girl.
just keeps
Mhm.
saying, oh, this mystery girl is there, and she disappeared, she left, and they were friends, and it's like, hold on, go back to that.
Yeah, I was
This
like, am
war,
I supposed? Did I miss something? Am I forgetting a character?
yeah, this war can wait. Hold on, please, Ansem the Wise, continue.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like that's the biggest mystery that came out of all
I
this.
love
And
that
again,
too.
people are
Yeah.
thinking it is Ava or Streletsia because
Mm-hmm.
one, Ava's missing from the epilogue, and Streletsia with what happened to her, kind of up in the air. Did she actually die? Like, what's going on?
Because that mystery reminds me of the mystery of like, who's this? Who does this armor belong to in like Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix? Of like,
Yeah.
before we even knew what Birth by Sleep was gonna be, like thinking about that scene and like, what is this? Who is Zemnis? Like, who is this
Yeah.
person that like
Mm-hmm.
keeping these secrets? Like, I love that, and it
Yep.
is the exact kind of mystery that Kingdom Hearts is very good at
Yeah.
slowly creating.
Yeah.
So.
And I
And-
think that's what we need to get out of the secret movie. I think we are clearly going to get something with Sora and Riku in Shibuya. It's been prophesized since 3D, since we saw Neku and what Joshua said.
Mhm.
So we're getting that.
Yeah.
Like, now cut all that out
Mhm.
and try and examine the other stuff, which is pretty much just Baron Rex and this mysterious hooded guy.
Yeah.
And really, you can't get anything from it.
Yeah,
You can
it's very
guess to the
obtuse.
cows come home.
I'm just.
Baron Rex is real. Like, that's all you can really
Mhm.
go with that. Masters, or whoever the hooded man is, well, clearly wants something with Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's about all you can get from that because
Yeah.
they put a heart to the moon.
I feel like there's a lot of ways to interpret that scene though. Like maybe
I
this
love the
person
moon.
sees the moon and like they see a memory in it that they can't quite put, and that when they hold their hand up to it they see something familiar there. I don't know.
I figured it out.
Yeah, I get the vibe that
He's trying to. I mean, that's actually a good theory because like the last thing that pops up
Yeah.
after that is the words "reconnect Kingdom Hearts."
Yeah, like I
So
get
maybe-
the
But
vibe
that's
that
been in all of them, though.
Yeah, that's
which
been
does
in a
not
lot of
help.
them. Yeah, that's also been
Yeah.
in a lot of them. But maybe it's. I'm curious like when they're gonna have that payoff is like when that's gonna come is when somebody finally just says reconnect Kingdom Hearts.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the Master
Well,
of Masters.
and this
finally.
is the other weird thing, and maybe it's just because I played all the games so recently. Going into this game, there's still
Mhm.
one thing from the very first Kingdom Hearts game that has not been done yet.
yeah.
Sora is still going to open the door to the light, guys. When the fuck is that happening?
The door to light, baby.
It's true.
Like,
I feel like that happens in the end
whoa.
too, though.
yeah, I guess
that's what I was thinking, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
that's
that's
true.
just. It's hard to tell if that's actually the door to the light or not, because
That's what I assume, but you're right. I feel like
it's.
they do
Mhm.
reference back to that event as him opening the door to light.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that keeps coming back. I'm like, are we ever going to get that? If it was that, okay, sure. I'll stop thinking about it, but like it's just that one line that only is said in 2 or in 1, and it's like, well, Kingdom Hearts wasn't the door to the light. The door that he
Mhm.
opens in 2 is the door to Destiny Islands to
it's
get
the
back
door
to
to the realm of light. You know.
yeah. Yeah, but I don't think that has any relation to what
I
this
get you,
trailer
yeah.
is. But
Mhm.
Leave it all-
um,
It's all on the table, baby.
yeah.
Like my main thing, like in terms of thinking that this is just going to be like a big final mix DLC kind of thing, is that Nomura has said like he doesn't want to focus on DLC for a long time. He has plans for like he wants to do like one big paid DLC and then maybe some little smaller items. And I think adding Shibuya and the Verum Rex world or whatever with Riku and all that, like an extra world or two, and expanding on story that would then tie into the next saga makes sense to me.
I get the vibe that
Yeah.
there was a point in developing this game that they cut off development. Not
Yeah.
like that
Mhm.
was like we don't have enough time to finish it. It was like here is the stuff that I want to be in this game.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't
we need to
necessarily
cut
wanna-
some stuff to make
Yeah.
it so it comes
Yeah, we
out.
left some stuff out
Mhm.
so that way we could polish this up because it's the first time like we're using this engine and doing this on this system. Stuff like that, like logistical stuff of like I want the
Mhm.
stuff that is here to feel good and look good and be great. and they've been planning for a very long time, longer than we know.
Yeah.
What is coming to Kingdom Hearts 3 next, or what is coming to Kingdom Hearts next. So, and I
And
don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's where it's hard to analyze this movie. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 1, we had no idea.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts
The
1
only
movie,
thing we knew was we figured it was Riku because of, well, the hair was the same.
Yeah.
But, like,
Everyone was
this is
like-
even more cryptic than that,
everyone-
besides, like, the obvious stuff.
Everyone thought it was like a dark. I remember going on Kingdom Hearts forums and everyone thinking it was some kind of like dark apocalyptic, like alternate cyberpunk future and stuff, and like, you know, it's way in the future, and now it's edgy, and
I love it.
I remember all that.
Yeah, and then when you look at it now, it's clearly saying like Organization 13.
Yeah.
It shows like it's showing Kyrie, which we knew was Kyrie, but even that look changed.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
we won't get anything from
that
this.
makes sense now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's cryptic things in the secret ending, but I feel like it's not cryptic enough.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Like the Shibuya stuff is not cryptic. We're
it's
definitely
more
getting
straightforward
that.
than what we've seen before. So,
Like everything besides that. Yeah, where is Riku? Is Riku in Shibuya? Because like the scenes with him, it is maybe, but Baron Rex and the hooded guy.
He's
Why are they there?
Yeah. Riku is in some part of Tokyo because that building he walks by, like with the two big red towers, that is an actual building, like in Tokyo. Like it might be like a different part, but he's definitely in
and
that
that's why I
area.
don't know if that is still supposed to be the World Ends With You or this made up Baron Rex world.
The World Ends With You. There is those two parallel worlds because
there's like a limbo world.
And that's why I was
Dream
joking
Drop
with
Distance
my
2,
name.
guys. Here it comes. Dream Drop Distance 2. They're going to be
here
in the
for it.
dream worlds.
I would
get ready for Dream Eaters to come back in a big way.
Okay, I will bet you guys a large pizza that this is for DLC and not a new game.
I'll take that bet.
See, I've been like, I say there's really no theory. It just something's gonna happen, game or DLC. I'm like in the middle of the boat
this is
there.
for a future Kingdom Hearts video game, not DLC.
Okay,
I agree.
And I think this is for the the big paid DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay,
It's
I'll take
sealed.
that.
Yeah.
Large pizza. As
Yeah,
many toppings as you want.
Let me lock that in.
I'm in 2. I think it's. I don't think it's DLC.
Okay. Me and
I'm
Mike
not
against
buying
Scott.
you both pizza.
We'll split a pizza. We're both in Islands.
It's locked
We'll
in.
figure it out. Yeah, it's locked in, baby.
You came in after it got locked in.
I pretty much
stuck your hand in.
No, I was here for it.
We'll split the pizza. It's fine.
And I'm like watching the trailer again. Sorry, like it's just nice to watch it while we talk about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm
like
gonna play
there's this.
on the video. Like,
Okay, I'll get you both one medium pizza.
I'll take that. I'll take
But
a
you
whole
guys
medium
just
pizza.
have to get me together have to get me just one large pizza. So I don't need two large pizzas.
the two medium to one large ratio. I'll take it.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can talk about this and speculate about Kingdom Hearts forever, but I just want to say I'm so grateful that we live in a
So
world where
good.
Kingdom Hearts 3 came out,
Yep.
it was finished, and it's great.
Yes.
Oh,
How lucky we are to live in that world.
This weird contrast. Sorry. Like again, I'm
Stop.
watching it again.
Stop it, Justin. He's got two different colored eyes.
They play with colors a lot.
VRX.
Like
But like
Sora is warm color, like
exactly.
and
that's-
Yeah.
Like,
Like that's why I think.
blue.
Yeah. Like I definitely think it's like there's like a Dream Drop parallel thing going on because you can see like the first thing you see in that scene, you see like the kind of orangish hue water and the blue kind of water, and they each both have those kind of
light
tinge
and
to 'em.
darkness is like the motif of light and darkness.
I just think
it's
they're
played heavy
alternate
here.
words. I think it's gonna be. I basically just think this next. I think it's gonna be a new game, and I think it's gonna be like on the not like a full fledged like numbered sequel level of game. I think it's just gonna be more like a Dream Drop thing, of like it is
a parallel world.
Yeah, you're gonna be like
A
either
parallel,
swapping
yeah.
between Sora and Riku, going through these different versions of this world, like different versions of Square Enix worlds.
I gotta end this podcast. Though.
Yeah, we gotta.
I'm reining this
Mm-hmm.
in. I
world
said
ends
an
with-
hour and a half.
The world ends with
we're over
Kingdom
2 hours
Hearts.
now.
Just lock it in.
We did it.
So
Never
real
forget.
We spoiled Kingdom
Um,
Hearts.
we spoiled Kingdom Hearts. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for
Yes, this
for
was
taking on
fun.
this journey with
Yes.
us. Thank you, Justin, Scott, Mike, for joining me. You guys are the best. I'm glad I could talk about this with you.
You're
guys.
the best.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Shout out to Brian Nobish and Jackson for wanting to be here, but he couldn't be here. Like I said, if you want to hear his thoughts, him and I talked about it on episode 411 of IPP. Scott Guthier could not be here. He's not finished the game yet, but we're giving him like little spoiler segments of each podcast for the next couple of weeks. So if you want to hear his thoughts, go check out Irrational Passions podcast, which is a product of irrationalpassions.com. Mike, Scott, and I all contribute to that. Justin, you are obviously a big friend of the site. It would feel wrong.
I'm the loser of the group.
No, not true. You once hosted a podcast for the website. But it'd be wrong to spoil Kingdom Hearts 3 without you. You know? One last thought on Larxene. Justin, do you want to share out with the crowd?
This game made me realize that Larxene is exactly also. They're both
I
cold-hearted. They both want to be casted out. They don't want
Alright,
to
maybe
deal
I
with
shouldn't have said
anybody.
anything.
She's the best.
Podcast over.
Podcast ever. If you would like to hear from from each of us more, Justin, you're on at Twitter at the Sigma Omega.
That's correct.
You tweet mostly about anime, from what I understand,
If I tweet anything.
or Apex Legends. Scott, you are at Solid Snake 120.
Yep.
Mike, you're at Mike Hits the Wall. I am at Alfighter27. You should check out all of our work on irrationalpassions.com. By the time you hear this, you should read my review of Kingdom Hearts 3. I liked it quite a bit, and I think I covered the things in which I liked and the payoffs in which I got from it in the review pretty well. And there's a bunch of other great stuff on irrationalpassions.com that you should check out. I'm not positive when this is going up, so I don't necessarily know what to promote, but just subscribe and like and let us know that you like it. Follow it on Twitter at IrrationalPod. That's it. That's the end of the show. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mike. And for everyone out there, I've been your host, Alex O'Neill, and may your heart be your guiding key.